Hello, all of you. So let us see the solution of this paper. This is the question number one, in which basically we have to check out each statement. So statement one is saying that photocurrent is proportional to the intensity of the incident radiation. Of course, this statement is correct. Why? Because basically, if you can think so, intensity of the light is proportional to the number of photons falling. Like if the number of photons increases, then the intensity of the radiations will increase. And of course, if the if the intensity increases, then number of photons increases, which means number of electrons emitted will also increase, and hence we can say ki, photocurrent will increase. Okay. Maximum kinetic energy with which photoelectrons are emitted depends on the intensity of the light. Now this is wrong because it is very well known that maximum kinetic energy depends on the frequency and not the intensity. Using Einstein's equation, you can see ki hf, which is the energy of the photon, that will be work function plus k max, right? So this k max depends upon the frequency of the light, not the intensity. Maximum kinetic energy with which photoelectrons are emitted depends on the frequency. This is exactly what Einstein's equation say. So option C, statement C is correct. Emission of the photoelectron requires a minimum threshold intensity. This is wrong. It requires a minimum threshold frequency and not intensity. Maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectron is independent of the frequency, which is wrong because again it depends on the frequency, as we saw in the Einstein's photoelectric equation. So that means option B is correct. Let us have a look at this question here. The equivalent resistance between A and B we have to find. Now very easy question. Suppose let me call here the potential as VA. Now you can see here this is connected with this, so we can say this potential will also be VA. All right. And if I call this potential as VB, so you can see this is a wire, so this potential will also be VB. Okay. So that means if you understand, all the resistors are connected in parallel. For example, this 20 kilo ohm is connected between VA and VB. This 20 kilo ohm is also connected between VA and VB, and this 10 kilo ohm is also connected between V and VB. So basically, if you choose 2 points in this space which are having potential V and VB, so each of these three resistors can be connected between the same 2 points, VA and VB. Okay, so all of them are in parallel, right? So we can say this 20 and 20 when combined will become 10 kilo ohm, okay, in parallel, and then this 10 kilo ohm and 10 kilo ohm will become 5 kilo ohm. All right, so basically equivalent resistance of this will be 5 kilo ohm. Here, the orbital angular momentum of a satellite is L when it is revolving at a height h from the Earth's surface. Now, the height from the, or the distance from the Earth's center is increased by 8 times. So we have to find the new angular momentum. Now imagine that this is the Earth, okay, and let us say this is a satellite which is at an initial distance of x. All right. Now remember, here I am calling x as the distance from the center, okay, and this is the satellite, right? So what is the angular momentum right now? Angular momentum will be m into orbital speed into x about the center of the Earth, where v is the orbital speed of the satellite, which we know is under root gm by x. Okay, this is the orbital speed of the satellite, very well known, root gm by x. That means if you think carefully, so this will become m into gm into root x, right? So what we see is L is proportional to the orbital radius. L is proportional to the orbital radius. Now question is saying the orbital radius, which is nothing but the distance from the center, is increased by 8 times in its initial value. That means right now the orbital radius is x and incremental value is 8x, because the increment amount is 8x. So finally the satellite will go somewhere over here, okay, and this distance will become 9x. Why 9x? Because the incremental value is 8x, okay. So the new radius will be 9x. So the new angular momentum L final will be proportional to what? Will be proportional to root of 9x, right? So we can say that L final upon L initial, if I take the ratio L final upon L initial, okay, will be is equals to root of 9x upon root of x, which means L final will be 3L. All right. Now here what is happening, there's a particle P which is revolving about the center, okay, in the anti-clockwise direction. At time 0 the particle was over here at an angle 30 degree, okay. Then we have to find the x component of the displacement basically. So in time t, particle will rotate with the by the angle omega t. Okay, theta is basically omega t. Theta is the angle by which the particle has rotated, and that value will be omega t. Okay, so let's say the particle is here after time t. All right. So if you think carefully, okay, this value this value is the x displacement, okay, and this radius is r, right? So if you think what is this angle, this is theta plus 30, right? Theta plus 30. So very simply we can write x by r, okay, x by r is sine theta, okay, sine theta plus omega t, I mean sine theta plus 30, okay. So x by r is sine theta plus 30 degree, right? So x becomes r sine of theta ko we can write omega t, and 30 degree is pi by 6. So basically I'm so sorry, it will not be sine, it will be cos. My I'm, really just a brain cramp, you can say. It will not be sine, it will be cos. X by r is equals to cos base upon hypotenuse, okay, base upon hypotenuse. So x by r will be cos of theta plus 30 degree, okay. Base upon hypotenuse is not sine, it is cos. So r cos theta is omega t plus pi by 6, okay. So option B should be correct. All right, just a second. Yeah. So in this question, what is happening? Basically, there is a system of rod, each of mass m and length l, and this is has to be oscillated about point P in the plane, in the plane of the screen. So it will oscillate like this. Okay. Now we know that this is a very simple case of compound pendulum, or which is also called as physical pendulum. So here the time period of oscillations. Okay, time period of oscillations comes out to be 2 pi root of I by mgd, okay, where I is the moment of inertia about the axis of rotation, and m is the total mass of the system. And what is d? D is the distance between the center of mass and the axis of rotation. All right, now first we will calculate moment of inertia. So look, moment of inertia of this rod about the end point, this p can be treated as the end point of the rod. So about this end point will be ml square by 3. All right, and moment of inertia of this rod also about the end point, p is also the end point of this rod, so this will also become ml square by 3. So basically the total moment of inertia will become 2 ml square by 3, right? Capital M, which is the total mass of the system, will be 2m, because each rod has a mass m, so total mass of the system will become 2m. Now what is d? D is the distance between center of mass of the system and point P. So let's try to see where will be the center of mass. Now look, basically this rod will have a center of mass at the point C1, okay, and this distance will be L by 2, right? The second rod will also have a center of mass at C2, and this distance will also be L by 2, right? And now we can say ki center of mass of the entire system will be at the midpoint of C1 and C2, right? Somewhere over here, okay. So clearly this angle is 45 degree. All right, so this distance, I'm sorry, this distance if you see, which is d actually, because this was point P. So this distance is d, okay, this distance is d, and that is L by 2 cos 45, okay. So basically d becomes L by 2 cos of 45, okay, which is nothing but L by 2 root 2, okay. So now we can write time period 2 pi under root of moment of inertia is 2 ml square by 3 into m is 2m into g into d. D is L by 2 root 2, so 2 root 2 will go in the numerator. So from here you can see 2m gets cancelled, okay, 1 L will get cancelled, so we will get 2 pi into 2 root 2 L upon 3g, okay, 2 root 2 L upon 3g. That means option B is correct. Let us see this question. So in this the resonance column experiment, the first resonance is obtained at the level of water in the tube at 20 centimeter from the open end. So we have to check out ki at what distance of the water level the next resonance can be obtained. So see, basically if you draw the figure of the resonance column experiment, so let us say that here the water level is till here, okay, and this distance has been given as basically the length of the air column L1. Now see, we have to ignore the end correction, so E will be 0 here, and we know that in the first resonance this kind of diagram we get, okay. So clearly you can see this is the node and this is the antinode. So L1 becomes what? L1 becomes lambda by 4, right? This point is node and this point is the antinode, and L1 becomes lambda by 4, okay. Now the next resonance, when the next resonance will happen, so what will be the case? Basically you can say that one more loop will be added, okay. So one more loop will be added, so that means this situation will occur. So that means, if I call this length as L2, all right, so that means L2 will be equals to what? 3 lambda by 4. So basically you can see that the, lambda by 4 is L1, so that means this is 3 L1. So L1 was given as 20 centimeter in the question, so the next resonance will be obtained at 60 centimeter, okay. So option B is correct. Notice one more point here कि they are not talking about the next resonance, they are talking about any resonance. So for example, what I'm trying to say is that कि suppose 60 was not in the option. So I'm saying let us say 60 was not in the option, but let us say 100 was in the option. So 100 would have been correct. Why? Because if you check out the next resonance, so next resonance will happen when when this kind of diagram will happen. Okay, L3. All right. So basically L3 will be what? You can see lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 plus lambda by 4. That means L3 will be 5 lambda by 4, which is nothing but 5 into 20. So that means 100 centimeter. So the question is asking key any resonance we can talk about, not just the next resonance. But as I said, the option has 60. So basically 60 will be our correct answer. And after 60, the next resonance will happen at 100. So after every subsequent 40 centimeters, we will keep on getting resonance. Okay, so I hope you have understood. Thank you. In this question, what is happening is that there's a particle which has been projected with the velocity v naught along the x-axis, and there's a damping force which is given by minus alpha x square. So the distance at which the particle will stop. So basically, very easy question again. So you can see that mass into acceleration is minus alpha of x square. Okay, that means acceleration will become minus alpha by m x square. All right. Now acceleration we know can be written as v dv by dx in a 1D motion. So which means minus alpha by m x square, and now we can take dv on the RHS. Okay, and this will become x square dx, and we can integrate. Okay, initially the speed was v naught, and finally the velocity will become 0 when the particle stops. Let us say particle starts from origin, and let's say it stops after traveling distance l. So LHS will become v square by 2, limits v naught to 0, minus alpha by m will come out, x square dx will become x cube by 3 from 0 to l. So if you put the limits here, this will become 0 minus v naught square by 2, that will be minus alpha by m into L cube by 3. Minus minus will be cancelled. So L cube will become 3 v naught square into m divided by 2 alpha, which means this will be the power 1 by 3. So 3 m v naught square by 2 alpha whole to the power 1 by 3. Yeah. So in this question, we have to find the center of mass of the remaining disk when the smaller disk of radius a by 2 has been removed from the bigger disk. So very easy question again. Let us say sigma is the surface mass density of the disk. So we can say that x coordinate of center of mass of the remaining body will be the what, m1 x1 minus m2 x2 divided by m1 minus m2. Okay, where what is m1? M1 is the, so let me write this first, m1 x1 minus m2 x2 divided by m1 minus m2. Now what is m1 here? M1 is the mass of the bigger disk. Okay, so that will be sigma into pi a square, because a is the radius of this bigger disk and sigma is the surface density. So m1 will become sigma into pi a square. X1 is the center of mass of the bigger disk. So center of mass of the bigger disk will be at this point, okay, which is having the x coordinate a, okay, with respect to origin. So that will be a. M2 is the mass of the disk removed. So that will be sigma into pi a by 2 square, because the radius of the smaller disk is a by 2. Okay, into x2 is the center of mass of the smaller disk. So center of this mass of the smaller disk will be at this point. Okay, so it will have the x coordinate a plus a by 2. That means 3a by 2. Okay, divide by, again m1 is sigma into pi a square minus m2 is sigma into pi a by 2 square. Okay, now we can just quickly do the calculations here. Sigma will get cancelled. Pi a square pi a square pi a square will get cancelled. Okay, from here you will get a minus, this will be what, 3a by 8. Okay, 3a by 8. Okay, divide by, this will be 1 minus, this pi will also get cancelled, a square will also get cancelled, 1 minus 1 by 4. So that means 5a by 8 divided by 3 by 4. That means this will become 5a by 6. All right. Now in this question, according to Bohr's model, question is asking that which of the transition in frequency will be maximum. Now see, basically very simple question again. Let's find the energy of each orbit. So you know, for the hydrogen, the energy formula will be given as minus 13.6 into z square by n square, but z is 1 for hydrogen. Okay, so if I have to find the energy of the first orbit, so n will be 1, this will become minus 13.6 electron volt. If I have to find the energy of the second orbit, so that will be minus 13.6 by 4, which is minus 3.4 electron volt. Similarly, E3 will be minus 13.6 by 9. Okay, so that will become minus 1.51 electron volt. Okay, and then E4 we can calculate minus 13.6 divided by 16. This will be how much? 16 8 128 and nearly I think 86. So I think it is 16 96 112 128. Okay, so 0.8 will be remaining. Yeah, so 0.85 electron volt. Okay, and E5. Okay, E5 will be minus 13.6 divided by 25. So this will be how much? This will be nearly point now 5, basically 125 and 110. So nearly you can say 110, so nearly 0.54 approximately. Okay, I'm just writing the approximate value. Now when the electrons will jump from 3 to 2, so 3 to 2 means this transition. So basically E3 minus E2, we will have an energy of, you can see this will be minus 1.51 minus of minus 3.4. So this is coming out to be 1.89 electron volt. So when the electron will jump from third to 2, so a photon of energy 1.89 electron volt will be released, right? Similarly, if you check E2 minus E1 for the option B, so E2 is minus 3.4 minus E1 is minus 13.6. So this will become 10.2 electron volt. 5 to 4 if you check, so 5 to 4 is very small energy difference, nearly 0.29 I guess. Okay, 0.31 I guess. Okay, so that is the energy difference of E5 minus E4. So E5 is minus 0.54 minus of minus 0.85. So I think this becomes how much? 0.31 electron volt. Okay, and then E4 minus E3 if you check. Okay, E4 minus E3 if you check, so this is also very small, minus 0.85 minus minus 1.51. So I think this is becoming 0.66 electron volt if I'm not wrong. So clearly second one, E2 minus E1, has highest energy photon, which means its frequency will also be highest. I hope you have understood. Now in this question, just a second. Yeah, in this question what is happening is that basically we are taking a gas from state A to state B isothermally. So this process is isothermal. From B to C, it is done isochorically, and from C to A it is adiabatic. From A to B, you can see the volume has doubled. From B to C, pressure has become half of the, like from B to C, pressure goes down by 2, and from C to A, the things have been restored. Now they are saying that A and B is isothermal process, and here they are calling temperature is T. Here also temperature will be T, right? We have to find the work done in the overall cycle. Now what is the work done in the AB? So if you check, AB is an isothermal process, and you might know that in an isothermal process the work done can be written as nRT ln of final volume by initial volume, right? N is 1. Okay, I'll write the value of nRT at the last. Okay, so ln of VB is 2VA. You can see VB is 2V1 and VA was V1, so 2V1 upon V1 will actually become ln2. So this value becomes nRT ln2. BC is an isochoric process. So in the isochoric process, we know that work done is always 0. Okay. CA is what? CA is the adiabatic process. So in the adiabatic process, work done is P1 V1. That means initial volume into initial pressure, PCVC, minus P2 V2. P2 V2 means final pressure into final volume. So PCVC minus PAVA upon gamma minus 1. Gamma is the adiabatic constant. So which here is basically this gamma minus 1. Okay. So this should be gamma. So basically PCVC, what is PCVC? So you can say that PC is the pressure at this point, which is P1 by 4. Okay, VC is the volume at this point, which is 2V1, minus PA is the pressure at this point, which is P1. Volume at the point A is V1. Okay, divided by gamma minus 1. All right. So if you check, this becomes P1 V1 by 2 minus P1 V1. That means P1 V1 by 2 upon gamma minus 1. That is the work done in the CA. Now using ideal gas law, if at point A I use ideal gas law, so you can see P1 V1 will be nRT1 at point A. So P1 V1 can be written as nRT1. Okay. That means the total work will be AB plus BC plus CA. So AB was nRT ln2, BC was 0, and CA was minus of nRT1 2 gamma minus 1. So n was given 1 in the question, which means this will become RT into ln2 minus 1 upon 2 gamma minus 1. Okay, so option A will be the correct answer for this question. All right, let's see this question here. Here we have been given four resistors each of 2 ohms and two inductors each of 2 millihenry. The battery is 9 volts. We have to find the current I just after the switch is closed. Now we know that just after the switch is closed, inductor will behave as an open circuit. So basically inductor will offer infinite resistance, so you can ignore this. So basically you can say that this inductor was not present, this inductor was not present. So basically this part of the circuit is not going to have any current. Okay, this part of the circuit will not have any current because this wire can be assumed broken and this wire can be assumed broken. So effectively the circuit, if you understand, becomes just like these two resistors, this resistor and this resistor, right? So this is the overall circuit, and this is a very easy circuit because the now the we can say the current can be written as 9 by 2 plus 2 4. Okay, that means 2.25 amperes. All right, so option D will be the correct answer for this question. A non-linear polyatomic ideal gas has 24 vibrational modes. What is the value of gamma? Very easy question. We know that total degrees of freedom for a non-linear polyatomic gas, it has 3 translational degrees of freedom, 3 rotational degrees of freedom, and for 24 vibrational modes it will have 48 degrees of freedom, because one vibrational mode corresponds to 2 degrees of freedom. That means this becomes 54 total degrees of freedom, and we know that gamma is 1 plus 2 by f. That means 1 plus 2 by 20, 2 by 54, 2 by 54. That means this is 1 plus 1 by 27, so this becomes 28 by 27, which you see will be nearly 1.03. All right, let us see this question. So basically in this question what is happening is that this electron of mass m and there's a photon which have same energy E, and we have to find the ratio of wavelength of electron to that of photon. Now see, for the electron, of course, the wavelength means de Broglie wavelength, and we know that de Broglie wavelength can be written as h upon mass of electron into speed of electron. So this is for the electron. Okay, now if you see, mass into velocity becomes linear momentum, and we know that linear momentum can be written as under root of 2 into mass into kinetic energy, which is given as E in the question. Okay, so that means lambda of electron becomes h upon under root 2 me. Now for the photon, if we talk about, so energy of the photon can be written as hc by lambda of photon, which implies that lambda of photon will become hc by E, right? Now we have to find the ratio of lambda of E to lambda of P. So lambda of E upon lambda of P will be this value upon this value. So you can see that that will be h upon under root 2 me into hc by E. Okay, so what are we getting? So here h and h will get cancelled, 1 by c will remain as it is, and that will be under root E by 2m. So option B is perfect. Let us see this question here. In this question, the velocity time graph of an object with 10 kg is being pushed along the frictionless surface by the external force. At 3 seconds, the force stops pushing and object starts moving freely, and then it collides head on and sticks to another object of mass 25 kg. We have to select the incorrect option. Now if you look from 0 to 3 seconds, the particle has constant acceleration because slope of BT graph is constant. So what will be the acceleration between 0 to 3 seconds? So which will be slope of this graph. So which you can see is this is 15 and this is 3. So basically 15 by 3 gives you 5 meter per second square. Okay, so this is the slope of BT graph, which is the acceleration. And hence we can write the force will be is equals to mass of the particle, which is 10 kg, multiplied by the acceleration. Hence between 0 to 3 seconds the force was 50 newtons. So statement A is correct statement. Remember, we have to choose incorrect. Okay, now the question is saying speed of the second particle just before the collision. Now look, basically here, like between 3 to 4 seconds the velocity is constant at 15. So let us say this 10 kg particle was moving at 15 meter per second. All right, and there is another particle which is of 25 kg. Okay, let us say it was moving at velocity v. I don't know the direction of velocity, I'm assuming it towards right. If it is actually towards right, then finally v will come out to be positive. However, if this is towards left, then v will finally come out to be negative. That is the idea. Okay, now look, this 10 kg will collide with the 25 kg, and after the collision you can see both of them will stick and you will get a single particle of 25 kg whose velocity, if you look after 4 seconds, the velocity of this particle has become 5 meter per second. That means the total 25 kg is also moving at 5 meter per second because they have become a single particle. So whatever is the velocity of this 10 kg, same will be the velocity of this. I'm so sorry. This will become 35 kg, not 25 kg. 10 plus 25 is 35. Okay, so 35 kg. So now what will be the total momentum equation? So 15 into 10, momentum will remain conserved. 15 into 10 plus 25 into v, that will be equals to 35 into 5. So from here 25 v comes out to be how much? 175 minus 150, which means v will be 25 upon 25, which means 1 meter per second, and it is positive, which means the chosen direction is the correct direction. So that means the speed of the second particle just before the collision is 1. So that means this is also correct statement. Before collision, both are moving in the same direction. This also turned out to be right. That means option D. Before collision, bodies are moving in the opposite direction. That is wrong. So that means this will be our answer. Okay. Now look at this question here. Basically, here what is happening? The array is moving along a unit vector, which is given as this. Okay. And it strikes a reflecting surface, which is XZ plane. So we have to find the unit vector along the reflected ray. Okay. Now look, let me draw the x, y, and z axis. So let's say this is the x axis. Okay. Wait. Yeah. This is the y axis. Okay. And let's say this is the z axis. All right. Now this xz plane is a reflecting plane. Okay. So basically this xz plane is the entire xz plane is the reflecting plane. All right. So basically now what is happening is that there's a light ray which is coming along this direction. So you can see that this light ray is having positive I component, j component, k component. That means it must be coming basically somewhat like this. Okay. And this will be the outward drawn normal. Okay. So clearly it is, in the negative y direction. The normal is in the negative y direction. So we can say minus j cap. And this will be the angle of incidence, and this will be the angle of reflection. This is the reflected ray, and this is the angle of reflection, and this is the r cap. Okay. And this is the I cap. Now you know that the reflected ray r cap, the standard formula for this is incident unit vector minus 2 times basically I cap dot n cap into n cap. Okay, this is the formula for this. Now the value of I cap is given to us this, and n cap is minus j cap, remember. Okay, so we will put the value here. So this is basically n cap, normal unit vector. What is I cap? I cap is half of this I plus j plus root 2 k cap, okay, minus 2 times I dot n. So this whole thing is I. Now if you do the dot product with the minus j, so look, I dot n. Let me show you here, I dot n. Okay, so this is the I thing, and this is minus j. So if you do the dot product, so minus 1 into plus half, that means this will become minus half, right? Because half into 1 is j cap, and here it is minus 1. That means we will get this minus half into n cap. N cap is minus j cap. All right. So what we get from here, I cap by 2 plus j cap by 2 plus k cap by root 2. And here we have got 3 minuses, so it will be minus, and 2 into 2 will be 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So this. So our answer will be I cap by 2 minus j cap by 2 plus k cap by root 2. Sorry, this will be j cap by 2. So I cap by 2 minus j cap by 2 plus k cap by root 2. Okay, so if I take half common, so it will be I cap minus j cap plus root 2 k cap. Okay, I cap minus j cap. So I think basically if you take out minus also, so I think option this minus I cap plus j cap minus root 2 k cap. So option C will match. All right. Now if you look over here, two stars of mass m and 2m are at a constant distance d. So let's say this is the star of mass m and this is the star of mass 2m. All right. And the distance between them is d. Okay, so this distance is basically d. All right. Now basically somewhere over here will be the common center of mass, and we know that the whole system will revolve about the common center of mass. We have to find the period of revolution. Okay, let's say this is the distance d1. Okay, and let us say this distance is d2. Okay, now notice that basically this distance d1 plus d2 is nothing but d. Okay, d1 plus d2 is d. Okay, total distance between them. And since this is the center of mass, so we can say m into d1 that will be is equals to 2m into d2. All right, which means d1 is equals to 2d2. Okay, so if I put the value of d1 here in the above equation, so we get 2d2 plus d2 is equals to d, which means d2 will be d by 3 and d1 will be 2d by 3. Okay, 2d by 3. Now we have to find the period of revolution. So if I write the centripetal, now look, m will revolve in a circle of radius d1. Okay, so m will revolve in a circle of radius d1, and from where it will get the required centripetal force. So that will be the gravitational attraction of 2m. So if I ask you what is the gravitational attraction of 2m, so you will say that is g into mass of first particle into second mass of second particle divided by distance between them squared. Okay, so g into m into 2m by d squared. This is the attraction of 2m on m, and that will be equals to centripetal force on m. So that will be equals to m into omega square into radius of circular motion. Now radius of circular motion is d1. Notice d1 is the radius of circular motion, which is 2d by 3, which we have already derived here. Okay, now if I cancel the value of m here, m and m gets cancelled. Okay, this 2 and 2 also gets cancelled. So if you see d value, d cube, this d square you can bring this side, so d cube will be g into m. Okay, and this 3 will also come here, 3g m by omega square basically. Okay, so that means omega square becomes 3g m by d cube. So omega becomes 3g m by d cube, and we have to find the time period, which is 2 pi by omega. So that means this will be 2 pi into under root of d cube by 3gm. Okay, so basically this will be 2 pi d cube by 3gm. Option B will be the correct answer for this question. All right, let's see the next question. Here we have a long capillary tube with both ends open and is filled with water and is set in a vertical position. The radius of the capillary is given and the surface tension is also given. The length of the water column remaining in capillary. So basically imagine a capillary tube. Okay, wait. So imagine a capillary tube. Okay, and now you had dipped this capillary in the water body and taken out. Now naturally, some amount of water remains. If you ever drink cold drink, and if you put the straw of cold drink inside the bottle and if you take out, so you would have observed that a little bit of cold drink gets stuck in the straw. So same thing is happening over here. So basically let us say this, this kind of situation has happened. Okay, so basically this much amount of water has been struck. Okay, so here basically you have water. Okay, now see, we know that water makes a zero angle of contact with the capillary. So this is what we will like this kind of diagram we will draw. Now here we will have air which is having pressure P naught. Here also we will have pressure P naught because here also we will have air. So if I start from here and if I cross this surface, if I cross this surface, so pressure will decrease by the value 2T by R, because if you remember, pressure is always higher on the concave side. So this is the concave side. So if you are going from concave side to convex side, okay, so pressure decreases. So it will decrease by the value 2T by R. All right, then if we go h distance down, pressure will increase by the value h rho g. Okay, then again if I go from concave side to convex side, look, again I'm going from concave side to convex side, so pressure is decreasing by the value 2T by R. Okay, and I have reached in the air, so here the pressure will be again P naught. So from here we can see 4T by R will be is equals to h rho g. So h becomes 4T by R rho g. Okay, now let me put everything in the CGS unit. So tension in the CGS unit is 70 dynes per centimeter. Radius is 0.2 centimeter in the CGS only. Okay, density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube, but in the gram per centimeter cube it is 1. Okay, so 1 gram per centimeter cube, and gravity is 10 meter per second square, right? So in the CGS unit, meter will become 10 meter will become 1000 centimeter per second square. All right, so gravity will be put as 1000 in the CGS unit. So that means this becomes how much? 280 upon 200, which is nothing but 1.4 centimeter. So option C will be the correct answer for this question. Now here what happens basically, look, a batter has hits a sixer and ball touches the ground outside the cricket ground. Which of the following graph describes the variation of cricket's ball vertical velocity with time after it has hit the ball and between before it touches? So very simple question. Suppose here, your favorite cricketer, let's say MS Dhoni, hits the ball and the ball goes like a parabola and it hits the ground. Now throughout this vertical motion, if you understand, the vertical acceleration is always gravity, yes or no? Always vertical acceleration is gravity. That means the rate of change of vertical velocity, has to be constant, right? Which means the slope of vertical velocity with time has to be constant, because acceleration was always constant. Okay, so that means the graph has to be constant in slope. Slope cannot change. This is a very important point, because vertical velocity, the rate of change of vertical velocity is always constant, which means slope of the vertical velocity time has to be constant. Now here you can see slope is changing, here you can see slope is changing. Look, here this is a constant slope. So without any thinking, you can straightly mark this as the correct answer. Okay, that will be the correct answer. All right, let's do this question. Here, magnetic needle lying parallel to the magnetic field requires W unit of work to turn it through 60 degree. So what's the question? Suppose this is the magnetic field, okay, and let's say this is the magnetic needle which has magnetic moment M. Okay, now what do you want? We want to turn it. So magnetic field will be like this, but magnetic needle will become like this. So this angle will become 60 degree, right? So in this operation, the work done is basically W. Okay, so first of all, let's calculate the value of W. So what is the potential energy formula? Minus M dot B, right? So what was the potential energy in the initial position? So that will be minus M into B into cos 0, right? Because angle between them is 0. What is the final potential energy here? So that will be minus M into B into cos 60, right? So that is the potential energy here. Now what is the work done? What is the work done? So work done will be U2 minus U1. Okay, so that means minus MB by 2. Okay, minus MB. Okay, so that means this becomes MB by 2. This is the amount of work done. All right. Now question is asking ki how much torque is required to maintain the needle in this position. Now you see, basically magnetic field will be applying a torque of M cross B, right? That means MB sine 60. Okay, so this is the torque that magnetic field will be applying, okay, in this direction. So you have to apply the equal torque in the opposite direction. Okay, this is the torque applied by the magnetic field. So if you have to apply the opposite torque in the equal, you have to apply the equal torque in the opposite direction, so that this needle remains in equilibrium. So your answer will be MB root 3 by 2. Okay, so MB into root 3 by 2. Now you see MB by 2 is W, so your answer will be W root 3. Okay, so A will be the correct answer. All right. Now look, basically X-ray tube operates at 20 kV. A particle electron loses 5% of its Ke to emit an X-ray photon in the first collision. You have to find the wavelength of this photon. Now see, if you remember, suppose electron starts at 0 kinetic energy. Okay, here the kinetic energy is 0 when it is released. Okay, then when it accelerates, operating voltage is 20 kilovolt. That means when the electron will accelerate, okay, so by the time it enters the target element, okay, its kinetic energy would have become 20,000 electron volt, because it has been accelerated through 20,000 volts. So here the kinetic energy of the electron would be 20,000 electron volt. Now it is losing 5% of its energy. Okay, that means the photon that will be released will have 5% of the energy of the electron, because whatever energy is lost, that energy was used to create the photon. So we can say energy of the photon will be 5%. That means 0.05 into 20,000 electron volt, which becomes 1,000 electron volt. So this is the energy of the photon. Okay, and now how we can find wavelength? So remember one formula, that wavelength is 12400 upon 1000, but this answer will be in the angstrom. Okay, so 12400 upon energy. Okay, but this answer will be in the angstrom, so that means you get 12.4 angstrom. Now 12.4 angstrom is nothing but 1.24 nanometer. So option B will be the correct answer for this question. All right, let us see this question. So basically in this we have to find the ratio of the magnetic field at the center to the magnetic field at a distance r. Okay, uh, in the case of ring which is also of radius r. So basically if you have a ring, okay, which is of radius capital R, let us say, so the magnetic field at the distance x, so formula is mu naught into current into radius square divided by 2 into x square plus r square to the power 3 by 2. Okay, and at the center we can simply write the magnetic field is mu naught I by 2r. Okay, so mu naught I by 2 into radius. Okay, so here the magnetic field radius is smaller. So now let's calculate the magnetic field at the point P, and in the question x is equals to r. Okay, because we have to find the magnetic field at the distance r only. So magnetic field at the point P, just put x equals to r, and capital R also is equals to small r. So capital R will be equals to small r square, and that will be equals to 2 times r square plus r square whole to the power 3 by 2. All right, and now we have to take the ratio of it. That means we will take ratio bc by bp. Okay, so if you take the ratio bc by bp very well, you can see that this mu naught and mu naught will get cancelled, I and I will get cancelled, 2 and 2 will also get cancelled. Here 1 by r will remain. Okay, and this r square will come in the denominator, and this 2r square whole to the power 3 by 2, right? Now if you see, this becomes 2 to the power 3 by 2. That means basically 2 cube 8 and under root, and r to the power r square to the power 3 by 2 will become r cube, which divide by r cube. So answer is root 8, which means x will become 8. Okay, so that will be the answer to this question. Then let us see the next question here. So here the number density of the electron in the wire is given as this. That means which we call n. Okay, 8 into 10 to the power 28. Then the cross sectional area is given as this. Okay, 2 into 10 to the power minus 6. The current has been given 3.2. We have to find the drift speed in the multiple of 10 to the power minus 6. Straight away formula based question. I is equals to nvd into charge on the electron into cross section. So current is how much? 3.2. Value of n is 8 into 10 to the power 28. Drift speed we have to calculate. Okay, magnitude of the charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 on the electron. Cross section area is 2 into 10 to the power minus 6. Now just do the calculations. It's very simple question. So look, 28 power minus 19 will become 9 and minus 6 will become 3. So you can cancel all these powers and you can simply write 10 to the power 3. Okay, now vd will become, and 8 in fact also you can write this 0.4. This will become 0.4 upon 1.6 into 2 into 10 to the power 3. Okay, so now this will make it 0.2. So basically this becomes 2 by 16, which is nothing but 1 by 8 into 10 to the power minus 3. We have to find the answer in the product of 10 to the power minus 6. That means you can multiply by 1000 and make it 10 to the power minus 6 divided by 8. So this becomes 125 into 10 to the power minus 6. So here you will get 125. All right. Here there's a hollow sphere which rolls up and we have to find the height. So very easy, what is the total kinetic energy of the ball? So due to translational motion, it will be half mv square, and due to rotational motion, it will be half into I center of mass into omega square. That is the total kinetic energy. And let's say ball reaches till this height. So basically this entire kinetic energy will become potential. All right. Now just we can say that IC. So for the hollow sphere, moment of inertia about center of mass is 2 by 3 mr square. Omega can be written as v by r because pure rolling is happening. Okay, so using the condition of pure rolling, we can write omega as v by r. Okay, now from here you can see this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Okay, m and m will also get cancelled. We get v square by 2, and this r square and r also gets cancelled. Here we get v square by 3. That will be equals to g into h. Okay, so here we get 3 plus 2, 5 v square by 6. That will be equals to gravity into h. So h is how much? 5 into v is 3 into 3 divided by 6, and gravity is 10. All right, so how much this will become? 5 these are 15 by 20. This is in meters. So basically 3 by 4 meter, which means 300 by 4 centimeter. All right, that means this is 75 centimeter. Okay, so answer for this question will be 75 centimeter. All right, let's look at this question here. There's a cylindrical wire of radius 0.5 mm whose conductivity has been given. Electric field has been given. We have to find the value of the current. Now see, if you remember, suppose there's a wire. Okay, now inside the wire, electric field is present, and there's one formula. Current density is equals to sigma into E, which is called basically microscopic form of Ohm's law. So basically J is equals to sigma E. Now sigma is the conductivity, which in the question is 5 into 10 to the power 7. Electric field is 10 millivolts, so that means 10 into 10 to the power minus 3 volt per meter. Okay, so how much will this become? So this will become 5 into 10 to the power 5. This is J. Now J, which is current density, can also be written as current crossing per unit area. So that means this can also be written as I by A. So that means I will become 5 into 10 to the power 5 into the cross sectional area, which is pi r square. Okay, pi r square. All right. So look, the value of r is given 0.5 mm, which means 5 into 10 to the power minus 4 in the meter, and you also have to square it. So that means 5 square will become 25 into 5, 125. The pi will also remain, and the power of 10 will become 10 to the power minus 3. This will be in the ampere. So the same answer in the milliampere if you have to write, so that will be 125 pi milliampere. Okay, so if you compare this with the given expression, so they have written x cube pi milliampere. That means x cube is nothing but 125, which means x is 5. All right, let us see this question. So basically here 6 plates are given and we have to find the equivalent capacitance between zero point 0.2 and 0.2 and 0.5. Okay, now have a look. Let me call the potential of plate 1 as x. Okay, so this potential I'm calling x. Now see, plate 1 and 4 are connected, so this will also become x. Let me call the potential of 2 as v1. Okay, and potential of 3 as y. So 3 is connected with 6, so this will also become y. Okay, and potential of plate 5 as v2. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll choose 4 points here in this space. Let's say this is v1, this is x, this is y, and this is v2. Look at this capacitor. Okay, so this capacitor is between v1 and x. So let me connect one capacitor between v1 and x. Okay, and let us say epsilon naught a by d. This value I'm calling as c. Okay, this value I'm calling as c, epsilon naught a by d. So look, this capacitance will be epsilon naught a by d. Okay, now if you look at this capacitor, this will also be, this also plate separation is d, so this capacitor is between v1 and y. So you will connect one capacitor between v1 and y, and this will also be of value c because this distance is d. Now y and x, look, this distance is 2d, so that means capacitance will become c by 2 because distance has become 2d, so this will be c by 2. Okay, c is inversely proportional to distance. So the capacitor between y and x, this is of 2, basically c by 2, remember. Okay, this is c. Then between x and v2, there is a capacitor of d. Okay, so x and v2 means this, so there is a capacitor of c. And again v2 and y, so this is also c, so v2 and y means this capacitor is also c. And remember, we have to find the equivalent capacitance between 0.2 and 0.5, that means v1 and v2. So that means we have to find the equivalent capacitance between these two junctions. Now actually this is a Wheatstone bridge. If you are not aware of this circuit, then you can redraw this in the usual format. So let me show you. Basically, let me choose the point y here. Okay, so I'm just redrawing it. Okay, and let me draw, wait, this, let's say, is the point v1, let's say this is the point y, let's say this is the x, and let's say this is the v2. So if you see v1 and y has c, so connect here c. All right, then look, like basically between y and v2 we have c, so y and v2 we have again c, right? Then between x and y we have c by 2, so this is c by 2. All right, then between v1 and x, look, v1 and x is c, so this is c. Okay, and between x and v2, so x and v2 is this, which is again c. So now this is your usual Wheatstone bridge. So you know that the condition of balancing is satisfied, which means this branch can be removed. Okay, now very easily we can say that this capacitor and this capacitor are in series. Okay, so these two capacitors are in series, which means this will become c by 2. Okay, this equivalent will become c by 2, and this equivalent will also become c by 2, and these two are in parallel, so c equivalent will become c. Okay, therefore this alpha becomes 1 because the overall capacitance becomes epsilon naught a by d. All right.
Hi everyone. This question is based on chemical kinetics. It is given that N2O5 decomposes into nitrogen dioxide and dioxygen gas via first order kinetics. After 50 minutes, the pressure inside the vessel increases from 50 millimeter of mercury to 87.5 millimeter of mercury. The pressure of the gaseous mixture after 100 minutes at constant temperature will be. So we have to find out the total pressure of the system after 100 minutes. So let us start by writing the equation. N2O5 decomposes into NO2 NO2. So we can write the equation as 2NO2 plus half oxygen. Initially, it is given that the pressure of N2O5 is 50. So we are assuming that initially only reactant is present, whose pressure is 50 in terms of millimeter mercury. The pressure of the products, let's assume them 0. Okay. After 50 minutes, the change in the pressure of N2O5, let's say it's -x. So as per the stoichiometry of the reaction, change in the pressure of nitrogen dioxide would be plus 2x, and that of oxygen would be x by 2. So the total pressure of the system after 50 minutes would be 50 minus x, which is the pressure of N2O5, plus 2x, which is the pressure of NO2, and plus x by 2, which is the pressure of oxygen gas. This is given to be 87.5 as per the question. So let's solve it. And this comes out to be 50 plus 3x by 2 divided by 87.5. So this can also be written as x is equal to 87.5 minus 50 multiplied by 2 by 3, and which would be 37.5 multiplied by 2 divided by 3, that is 25, which means that the pressure of the reactant N2O5 falls from 50 millimeter of mercury to 25 after 50 minutes, right? Because 50 is the initial pressure, change is 25, so left over will also be 25 after 50 minutes. So it's very clear that this is the half-life of the reaction, right? 50 minutes is the half-life of the reaction, because in 50 minutes the pressure of N2O5 becomes half of its initial value. Now we have to find out the total pressure after 100 minutes. So obviously, if 50 minutes is one half-life, which means that in 100 minutes, two half-lives would have passed. In 100 minutes, two half-life would have passed, because for a first order reaction, half-life is independent of the concentration of reactant. It is constant at a constant temperature. So in 100-minute time, two half-lives would have passed, which means that the pressure of the reactant N2O5 in first half-life, it decreased from 50 to 25. In second half-life, it will decrease from 25 to 12.5, which means that the change in the pressure of N2O5, which we can say X, is 50 minus 12.5. This would be 37.5, right? So the reduction in the pressure of N2O5 is 37.5. Now it's very simple. Now we can solve this question using this equation. Now the total pressure, it is 50 plus 3x by 2, right? So after 100 minutes, the total pressure is 50 plus 3x by 2, but this time after 100 minutes, x is 37.5. So this would be 50 plus 3 by 2 multiplied by 37.5, and this upon solving comes out to be 106.25 millimeter of mercury pressure. So the total pressure of the system after 100 minutes is 106.25 mmg. So option D is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, there is a Grignard reagent that reacts with the compound C8H8O. Followed by hydrolysis, it gives a compound A that reacts instantly with Lucas reagent to produce compound B. In the options, we have these alkyl chlorides in the four options. We can see that this is a primary alkyl chloride. This is also a primary alkyl chloride, CH2Cl. This is a tertiary alkyl chloride, and this is a secondary alkyl chloride. So these alkyl chlorides are formed in the Lucas test, which is a test used to distinguish among primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. Because the compound A reacts instantly with Lucas reagent, which means that compound A should be a tertiary alcohol or an alcohol that gives very stable carbocation. So from the given options, option C makes absolute sense here, because this compound comes from pH, C, CH2, CH3, and OH, CH3. So basically this alkyl chloride comes from this alcohol, and yes, because it is a tertiary alcohol, it has a phenyl ring attached to the carbon, which is joined to OH group. So this gives a very stable carbocation and hence react very fast in Lucas test. Now this compound actually comes from the reaction between this Grignard reagent C2H5MgBr and C8H8O. So we can verify that also. As we look at the compound, we can tell that there should be a ketone, which is acetophenone, PHCO, CH3. Yes, it fits the molecular formula C8H8O, and it reacts with Grignard reagent ethyl magnesium bromide. So the Grignard reagent that is given to us, ethyl magnesium bromide. So please remember that this is a very important reaction. Ketones react with Grignard reagents to produce tertiary alcohols, which is the case here. So this negatively charged carbon attacks this carbonyl carbon, right? This pi bond breaks, and then followed by hydrolysis, we get this tertiary alcohol in which two alkyl groups have come from ketone, namely phenyl and methyl, and one alkyl group, ethyl, has come from Grignard reagent. So definitely option C is the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, 2-methyl propyl bromide reacts with ethoxide ion and gives A. And in all the four options, we can see that the product is an ether. Whereas on the same compound, 2-methyl propyl bromide, on reaction with ethanol, it gives B. Again, we can see that in all the four options, the product is an ether. The mechanism followed in these reactions and the products A and B respectively are. So first, let us see what is 2-methyl propyl bromide. It has 3 carbon in the parent chain and a methyl subsequent on second carbon. So this is 2-methyl propyl bromide. If it reacts with ethoxide, which is a strong nucleophile, and it is given in all the four options that the product is an ether, so this has to be SN2 reaction, right? Because of the strong nature of the nucleophile. So what happens here is that it attacks this carbon and it is displaced. the product is this, which is isobutyl. This group is isobutyl ethyl ether, right? Isobutyl ethyl ether, that directly gives us option D as the correct answer. But let us analyze the second reaction also. When this reacts with ethanol, now ethanol is a weak nucleophile, so this favors SN1 mechanism. Now the mechanism is different. First, it ionizes to produce carbocation. The carbon-bromine bond breaks heterolytically to produce this primary carbocation, which rearranges via 1,2 hydride shift to give the more stable, much more stable third butyl carbocation. And it is this carbocation on which ethanol attacks. The oxygen is nucleophilic, this attacks, and then followed by deprotonation. The ether that we get here is, on one side of the oxygen, we have third butyl group. On another side, we have ethyl group. So this ether is third butyl ethyl ether, and the mechanism is SN1. So yes, definitely option D is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given few elements: magnesium, aluminum, sulfur, phosphorus, and silicon, and we have to tell the correct order of their first ionization enthalpy in increasing values. So let us first write these elements in the order as they appear in the periodic table. So we have magnesium first, then after that aluminum, and then after that silicon, then phosphorus, and then sulfur. So atomic number of magnesium is 12, aluminum is 13, silicon is 14, phosphorus 15, and sulfur 16. Now there is an exception pair between magnesium and aluminum, because in magnesium, the last electron is in s orbital, whereas in aluminum, the last electron is in a p orbital, because the valence shell configuration for magnesium is 3s2, whereas that for aluminum is 3s2, 3p1. So because s orbital is completely filled and is closer to the nucleus compared to 3p orbital, so it is more difficult to remove an electron from magnesium compared to aluminum, which means that aluminum should have lower ionization enthalpy compared to magnesium. As we move from aluminum to silicon, the order is normal. So after that we have silicon. But then again, between phosphorus and sulfur, there is an exception, because in the valence shell configuration of phosphorus, we have 3 electrons, as in 3p3, and in sulfur, we have the configuration 3p4. Now we know that p subshell can accommodate a maximum of 6 electrons, which means that p3 is half filled, and half filled subshells are extra stable because of their symmetry and exchange energy, which means that the first ionization enthalpy of phosphorus should be higher than that of sulfur. That is, sulfur would have lower ionization enthalpy compared to phosphorus. So the correct order would be aluminum, magnesium, silicon, sulfur, and phosphorus. Hence, option A would be the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given an organic compound that has a carbonyl group, that is ketone, and another ester linkage. This compound is reacted with ethylene glycol, which is this compound, ethane 1,2-diol, in presence of acidic medium. Now, the given functional groups in the compound are a ketone and an ester linkage, and the reagent that we are reacting it with is ethylene glycol in acidic medium. Basically, the reaction of carbonyl group with ethylene glycol is an example of nucleophilic addition reaction, and we know that ketones are more reactive than esters towards nucleophilic addition, because in case of ester, the carbonyl carbon is less electrophilic on account of the resonance. There is this resonance because of which the carbon is less electron deficient compared to the carbon in ketone. That's why this ethylene glycol reacts with this ketone and forms cyclic ketal, which means that option A should be the correct answer. So overall, this reaction would be like this. There is this ketone, and the two OH groups on this ethylene glycol would attack successively as nucleophiles on this carbonyl carbon, and overall we are losing a molecule of water here. Okay, so the carbonyl oxygen and the 2 hydrogen atoms from the hydroxyl groups will be lost, and this cyclic compound, which we call cyclic ketal, will be obtained. So out of the option A, B, C, and D, the most appropriate choice here is option A. Now please note that ester will not undergo hydrolysis, because hydrolysis of esters can occur in acidic medium, but it does require heating, that is more vigorous reaction conditions. So option A is the most appropriate correct answer for this. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, an amine on reaction with benzene sulfonyl chloride, which we call Hinsberg's reagent, produces a compound that is insoluble in alkaline solution. This clearly means that the compound is a secondary amine because Hinsberg reagent is benzene sulfonyl chloride, and if a compound which is a secondary amine reacts with this Hinsberg reagent, then this nitrogen attacks the sulfur as a nucleophile and there is elimination of HCl, and the product that we get here is this. We can clearly see that this compound lacks an acidic hydrogen and hence it will be insoluble in alkali. So the compound has to be a secondary amine, which immediately rules out option C as a possible answer. Let us continue with the question. This amine can also be prepared by ammonolysis reaction using ethyl chloride as one reactant. So basically, ammonolysis is a method of preparation of amines using haloalkanes and ethanolic solution of ammonia. Because ethyl chloride is being used as one of the reactants, which means that our secondary amine should have an ethyl group, which is not there in option A, which is not there in option D, but in option B, we can clearly see that yes, it does have ethyl group in its structure, which means that this is the secondary amine we are looking for. So the correct answer to this question will be option B. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given 4 statements and we have to tell which of the following statements is correct. Let us look at the first statement. In the thiourea test for nitrite ion, a green colored solution is obtained when ferric chloride is added. So this statement is actually incorrect. The solution is not green. In fact, it is blood red. That is because thiourea reacts with nitrite ion to form thiocyanate ion, which then reacts with ferric ion to form a blood red complex, which is often simplified to this. So FeSCN2 plus complex is formed, which is responsible for the blood red color of the solution. So option A is incorrect. Option B says that it is necessary to carry out the chromyl chloride test in a dry test tube. That is correct, because if the test tube already contains some amount of water moisture, chromyl chloride, as it is highly sensitive to moisture, reacts with water and undergoes hydrolysis. And then we cannot use these chromyl chloride vapors for further conformation. For example, hydrolysis to form a yellow solution or reaction with lead acetate to form a yellow precipitate of lead chromate. So option B is the correct answer. But anyway, see the other 2 options as well. The brown ring test can be satisfactorily performed using aqueous extract of lead nitrate. In brown ring test, we use sulfuric acid. If you are using lead nitrate to do the test for nitrate ion, lead ion will react with the sulfate ion from sulfuric acid and it will form a white precipitate of lead sulfate. So this appearance of white precipitate will cause interference with our observation of the brown ring. So brown ring test cannot be satisfactorily performed using aqueous extract of lead nitrate. Option D says that a suspension of cadmium carbonate gives a black precipitate with sodium sulfide solution. That is incorrect. Cadmium with sodium sulfide, it will produce a vibrant yellow precipitate of cadmium sulfide. So this statement is also incorrect. Hence option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, the L isomer of a tetrose X gives positive Schiff's test and has 2 chiral carbon atoms. On acetylation, X yields a triacetate and it also undergoes the following 2 reactions where it produces a chiral compound on reduction with sodium borohydride and a chiral compound also on reaction with nitric acid. So let us process this information. The compound is a tetrose, which means that it is a carbohydrate containing 4 carbon atoms. It is L isomer, which means that in the lowermost chiral carbon in the Fischer projection, the hydrogen is on the right hand side. This is very important because the tetrose isomer, L isomer of this tetrose produces a positive Schiff's test. Now actually Schiff's test is a weak reagent. It's a highly sensitive test for aldehydes, but it is a weak reagent. So generally hemiacetals do not give positive Schiff's test, which means that option A and B are directly eliminated from the possibilities. It has 2 chiral carbon atoms. So let us look at option C and D. Yes, both have 2 chiral carbon atoms here. Then they have said that on acetylation, X yields a triacetate. This just means that the compound has 3 OH groups, right? Which is also true for option C as well as D. We can see that both compounds have 3 hydroxy groups, right? So these alcohols on acetylation produce esters, which is triacetate. This compound on reaction with NaBH4 as well as nitric acid produces chiral compounds. So if we react the compound C with NaBH4, remember that this CHO, which is an aldehyde, it is reduced to an alcohol, a primary alcohol, which is CH2OH. So this is the compound on reaction with NaBH4. But the question says that the compound is chiral, and this compound is definitely not chiral because you can see that there is a plane of symmetry here. So option C is also eliminated from the possibilities, leaving behind only option D, which must be the correct answer. When this compound is reduced with NaBH4, then CHO group is reduced to primary alcohol. So we get something like this. We can see that this compound is asymmetric. It does not have plane of symmetry, right? So this compound is optically active. And also when we react it with nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. So it oxidizes not only this CHO carbon to the corresponding carboxylic group, but also this primary alcohol. And when both C1 and C4 are oxidized to carboxylic, even then this compound is chiral because once again, it does not have a plane of symmetry. So option D satisfies all the given conditions and hence it must be the correct answer to this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, homoleptic octahedral complexes of a metal ion M3 plus with three monodentate ligands labeled as L1, L2 and L3 absorb wavelengths in the region of green, blue and red part of the visible spectrum respectively. And the question is, we have to find out the increasing order of the ligand strength. So if we look at the visible spectrum, which is shortened as VIBGYOR, right? Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Then we can see that ligand 1, L1, absorbs green light. So this is L1. The ligand 2, which is labeled as L2, absorbs blue light. So this is L2. And the third ligand, L3, absorbs red light. Because we know that from violet to red, wavelength increases, frequency decreases, and energy also increases, right? So basically, the ligand 2 is absorbing the light of shortest wavelength, which is maximum energy radiation, which means that the splitting should be maximum in case of L2, hence L2 should be the strongest ligand. Obviously, red is the color here that corresponds to the wavelength, longest wavelength transition, that is the least energy, right? So L3 should be the weakest ligand here, and L1 green lies in the middle of, like between blue and red, so that should be here. So the correct answer of the ligand strength of these three ligands would be L3, then L1 and then L2. So the correct answer would be option A. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to figure out the structure of the major product P formed in the given reaction. So this compound contains a carbon-carbon double bond and another carboxylic group. And the regions are, we are basically reacting this molecule with bromine in alkaline medium, sodium bicarbonate. So what happens? Alkenes react with bromine. That is an example of electrophilic addition reaction. And this goes through the formation of cyclic halonium-ion intermediate. So what happens first is that this bromine molecule attacks the carbon-carbon double bond as an electrophile. And first we get this bromine with a positive charge, three-membered cyclic intermediate, which is bromonium ion. Now also, because the solution contains sodium bicarbonate, which reacts with carboxylic to produce carboxylate anion. So the next, we should get carboxylate anion, and now at the same time, there is this cyclic bromonium ion. So now you can see that a nucleophile is needed, which is actually present in the same molecule, right? So here attack will occur at the more substituted carbon atom. So this oxygen O minus, this will attack on this carbon and this bond will break, this sigma bond will break. Is that clear? So basically what happens here is that this carbon is joined to this oxygen, right? And we get something like this. So this oxygen is joined to this carbon, and then on another side, we should have like Br and two methylene groups CH2 here. And then on other side, we should have this carbonyl. So this should be the correct answer, which corresponds to option A. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to tell the descending order of acidity for the following carboxylic acids. The five carboxylic acids given in the question are acetic acid, trifluoroacetic acid, chloroacetic acid, fluoroacetic acid, and then finally bromoacetic acid. So halogens exert minus I effect, which means that the carboxylic acids B, C, D, and E must be more acidic than option A. All right, which means that acetic acid should be the least acidic one here. Now, out of B, C, D, and E, B should be most acidic because we have three fluorine atoms here. So the cumulative minus I effect will be maximum. So the most acidic among these would be the compound B. Now, out of C, D, and E, we have chloroacetic, fluoroacetic, and bromoacetic acid. And here, the minus I effect order of these three halogens is fluorine maximum, then chlorine less, and bromine even less. Which means that out of C, D, and E, D should be more acidic, than C, and chloroacetic acid should be more acidic than the acid in E, which is bromo, right? So the correct descending order of acidity would be B, then D, then C, then E, and A. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given an organic compound and we have to find out the correct IUPAC name for the given compound. As we can see in this compound, there are two functional groups. One is this carbonyl functional group, which is actually a ketone, and another is this carboxylic acid, which is the principal functional group here because it comes first in the priority order. It comes before the ketone. So we will number the parent chain in such a way that the principal functional group carboxylic gets the lowest possible number, which would be 1 here. So carboxylic gets number 1. Then we will move on to this CH, which will get number 2. And then obviously we will move towards left hand side here. So this is 3 and then 4, 5 and then 6, which means that the parent chain of this compound contains 6 carbon atom with carboxylic as the principal functional group. So it should be a hexanoic acid. Now there is a methyl group on second position. So 2-methyl should be the substituent, and that directly gives us option D as a correct answer. But the correct full name is 2-methyl and 5-oxo, because the functional group prefix for this keto group is either keto or oxo. So the correct complete IUPAC name would be 2-methyl 5-oxo and hexanoic acid. Note that we do not have to write hexane 1-oic acid because by default it is understood that carboxylic group would be at the end of the parent chain with the lowest possible number. Yes, so option D is the correct answer for this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find the set having ions which are both colored and paramagnetic. So color arises in transition metal ions because of daily transitions. So we are basically looking for unpaired electrons in d orbital, and paramagnetism arises because of unpaired electrons. So any unpaired electron in any orbital, so that means the ion is likely to be paramagnetic. So let us look at the first set of 3 ions. Cupric ion is both colored and paramagnetic because in Cu2 plus ion, the configuration is 3d9. So there is one unpaired electron. So there is paramagnetism here, and the color is blue, that we already know. In Cr3 plus, the configuration is 3d3, which means again there are unpaired electrons in d subshell, so there is color and paramagnetism both. In scandium plus 1, the electronic configuration would be 3s1 and 4s1 because scandium is 3d1 4s2 and Sc plus means we removed 1 electron. So there are 2 unpaired electrons, one of them is in d orbital, so yes, it is both likely to be colored and paramagnetic. So this should be a correct answer. Let us analyze the other options as well. In option B, Zn2 plus does not make sense because zinc has completely filled d subshell even in plus 2 state. So Zn2 plus is 3d10. So there is no unpaired electron in d orbital, which means that it is not supposed to be colored. And also there would be no paramagnetism. So this rules out option B is the correct answer. In option C, scandium 3 plus, vanadium 5 plus, and titanium 4 plus, all of them have the same configuration of 3d0, which means there is no electron in the d subshell. So there should not be any color as well as paramagnetism. So option C also cannot be the correct answer. In option D, we have manganese 7 plus. Manganese has the configuration 3d5 and 4s2, which means Mn7 plus, that all these 7 electrons are gone. So basically there is no unpaired electron in d orbital, no color, no paramagnetism. Hg2 plus also has completed with d subshell, so there should not be any color, right, as well as paramagnetism. So the most appropriate option that makes for the correct answer here is option A. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the exact volumes of 1 molar NaOH solution that are required to neutralize 50 ml of 1 molar H3PO3 and 100 ml of 2 molar H3PO2 solution respectively. Let us start with H3PO3. H3PO3 is a dibasic acid, which means that its N factor is 2. That is because of its structure. There is one pH bond and there are two POH bonds. So it is the hydrogen atoms joined to oxygen atom that are ionizable as H+. In H3PO2, the N factor is only 1. Here the N factor is only 1 because again of its structure. If you look at the molecular structure, then there is only one POH bond. So only one hydrogen is ionizable as a proton, H+, right? So now NaOH is having an N factor of 1 anyway because it gives only one hydroxide. So let us calculate for H3PO3. Because NaOH gives one hydroxide, but H3PO3 gives two protons, which means that number of moles of NaOH should be twice the number of moles of H3PO3. Now, number of moles is molarity into volume. Molarity of NaOH is 1 and volume we have to find out, which should be 2 multiplied by number of moles of H3PO3, which is again molarity into volume. Molarity of H3PO3 is 1 and the volume is 50 ml. So this should be 100 ml. Doing the similar calculation for H3PO2, here the N factor of H3PO2 is 1, which means essentially the number of moles of NaOH should be equal to the number of moles of H3PO2. Number of moles of NaOH again is molarity 1 multiplied by volume, and number of moles of H3PO2 is molarity, which is 2 multiplied by volume, which is 100 ml. So here the volume that comes out to be is 200 ml. So the volume of NH required to neutralize the H3PO3 solution is 100 ml, and the volume of solution of NaOH required to neutralize H3PO2 solution would be 200 ml. So with 100 and 200, option C is the correct answer in this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, the outermost electronic configuration of a group 13 element is given to be 4s2 4p1, which means that element belongs to the fourth period of periodic table. Now, if that is how we show some portion of the periodic table, then this would be our group 13, which goes like boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, and thallium. So boron belongs to second period because in first period we have hydrogen and helium. Aluminum belongs to third period and gallium belongs to fourth period. So it is gallium that we are talking about with the electronic configuration 4s2 4p1. Now the question is asking the electronic configuration of element of p block placed diagonally to this element, right? So we have to look for p block element placed diagonally, right? So diagonally to this can be either this or this, but the question clearly mentions that we are looking for fifth period, which means that we are basically looking for this element. So what is the electronic configuration for this element? So now let us see what is group 14 here. So the elements in group 14 are carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. So the element that we're looking for is tin with an atomic number of 50. Because it belongs to fifth period, the noble gas has to be of the fourth period, which is helium, neon, argon, and krypton. So basically we are looking for krypton here. This is 3D subshell and this is 4D subshell, and tin comes after 4D subshell is filled, which means that it should have a completely filled 4D subshell and it belongs to fifth period. And because it belongs to 14th group, so it should have 5s2, 5p2 configuration. So this is the element that is 1050 with the configuration of krypton 4d10, 5s2 and 5p2. So option D should be the correct answer to this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given two statements and we have to tell which of these statements are correct. Statement 1 is methyl orange is a weak acid. This statement is correct because while from the classical point of view of chemistry, methyl orange is, like considered a base because it has a dimethyl amino group, right, which acts as a proton acceptor. But in modern analytical chemistry, an indicator's behavior is described based on the equilibrium that it establishes in a titration, and there methyl orange is considered a weak acid. So statement 1 is correct. So statement 2 says that the benzenoid form of methyl orange is more intensely or deeply colored than the quinonoid form. This is incorrect. Actually, it is the quinonoid form, which is red, is more intensely colored than the benzenoid form, which is yellow. So statement 2 is incorrect. So statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Option D is the right answer for this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to match the items in list 1 with the options given in list 2. And we are given 4 coordination compounds and we have to match with the type of isomerism that these complexes exhibit. In the first case, we have this complex in which the cation as well as the anion are both coordination entities. You can see that the ligand in one of the coordination entities is cyanide, which is an ambidentate ligand and which exhibits linkage isomerism. So A matches with first. Then, because there are two coordination entities, we can exchange ligands between, cobalt and chromium, leading to coordination isomerism. So A also exhibits the third, that is coordination isomerism. So A shows first and third, right? Which means option C could be the correct answer or option A could be the correct answer. Let us look at the second complex, CONH3 thrice NO2 thrice. Here, we have NO2, which is an ambidentate ligand and which again shows linkage isomerism. So B matches with first. That is option A as the correct answer. Let us see other complexes also. In the third case, we have CrH2O6Cl3, so we can exchange chloride ions with the water molecules in the coordination entity. And this complex shows solvate isomerism. So C matches with second, indeed correct. In the option D, we have the cis isomer of this complex CrCl2OX2, and we know that this shows optical isomerism, right? Because the trans form has plane of symmetry, that is optically inactive, and the cis form does not have symmetry, so the cis isomer of this complex would be optically active. So D matches with fourth, hence option A indeed is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to give the decreasing order of reactivity of the following compounds with HBr. All the 4 compounds given in the option are benzyl alcohols, which means when they react with HBr, the reactivity will be determined by the carbocation that is given by these alcohols. For example, first molecule, which is just a benzyl alcohol, gives this benzyl carbocation. So the reactivity would be determined by the stability of this benzyl carbocation. In first case, the carbocation is just benzyl. In second, we also have a methyl group joined to para position, which increases the stability of this carbocation through inductive and mainly hyperconjugation effect. In third case, we have a methoxy group because oxygen carries 2 lone pairs of electrons. So methoxy group shows positive mesomeric effect and it increases the stability of this benzyl carbocation more than methyl. In fourth case, we have the methoxy at meta position with respect to the CH2OH group, which means that the carbocation is actually slightly destabilized by the minus I effect of this methoxy because resonance works at ortho and para positions. At meta position, only a weak minus I effect of methoxy group will operate, which means that this carbocation will actually be slightly unstable. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 should be the most stable carbocation. 3 should give the most stable carbocation. Hence, compound third should be most reactive. And fourth should be least reactive because its carbocation is actually slightly destabilized. Out of first and second would lead to the formation of more stable carbocation. As we discussed, that methyl shows inductive and hyperconjugation effect. So second, and then we have first. So the correct order of the reactivity of these compounds with HBr is third, second, first, fourth, which is option C in this case being the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to tell which set of reactants are suitable for the preparation of isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol is common name for propane to all. First option would not be an appropriate choice because when this methyl magnesium iodide attacks on the carbonyl carbon of this acetone, the resulting alcohol would be tertiary in nature. Because this is an important fact, please remember that ketones react with the Grignard reagent to give tertiary alcohols because ketones already contain 2 alkyl groups joined to the carbonyl carbon and 1 alkyl group comes from the Grignard reagent. So obviously tertiary alcohol will be the product here, not isopropyl alcohol. In option B, we have Grignard reagent and another molecule that we are using here is ethanol. So this is acid-base reaction because Grignard reagent gives carbon ion CH3 minus, which takes this acidic hydrogen from ethanol to form methane. So actually there's no alcohol formed here as such. In option C, ester is given along with Grignard reagent. Please remember esters also generally give tertiary alcohols because if this is an ester and it reacts with the Grignard reagent. So first step is nucleophilic acyl substitution. The attack of Grignard reagent forms this famous tetrahedral intermediate. but then the pi bond, carbon oxygen pi bond reforms and ethoxide is expelled. And the next molecule that is formed in this reaction is acetone. Now we have seen in option A that acetone itself reacts with Grignard reagent to form tertiary alcohol. So this is also not a suitable choice. In option B, we do have an ester, but this time there is no alkyl group joined to the carbonyl carbon of the ester, just a hydrogen atom. So when this reacts with Grignard reagent, here nucleophile attacks, pi bond breaks. So this is HCO minus. This is methyl and OED. This is nucleophilic acid substitution. So this bond is reformed, ethoxide is expelled, and we get acetaldehyde here. And of course, this would be the correct answer because now this acetaldehyde will react with another molecule of Grignard reagent and then it will give isopropyl alcohol, as we generally also know that aldehydes other than formaldehyde react with Grignard reagent to produce secondary alcohols because one alkyl group comes from Grignard reagent and the other alkyl group comes from the aldehyde. So option D in this question is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, there are four species: carbon dioxide, N3 minus, NO2 plus, and I3 minus. And we have to tell which of the following statements is correct about these species. So beginning with carbon dioxide, its steric number is 2 because the 4 valence electrons on carbon are shared with 2 oxygen atoms. So carbon dioxide is a linear molecule with the hybridization of the central carbon being sp. In case of N3 minus ion, which is azide ion, we can also draw one of the resonating structures like this. Once again, we can see that the central nitrogen is sp hybridized as it is forming 2 pi bonds, and it is also a linear species. NO2 plus has 4 valence electrons on nitrogen because there are 5 valence electrons otherwise on nitrogen atom, but because of positive charge, we have 1 electron less. These 4 electrons, just like in carbon dioxide, are shared with the 2 oxygen atoms, and NO2 plus, just like carbon dioxide, is a linear species. And you can again see here that it is linear and nitrogen is sp hybridized because it is forming 2 pi bonds. Coming to I3 minus, here one iodine is central atom and the other 2 iodine are boundary atoms. So the central iodine has 7 valence electrons of its own, and negative charge means one more electron, that is 8 valence electrons. Out of these 8 valence electrons, 2 electrons are shared with the boundary iodine atoms, leaving behind 6 unshared electrons, which means there are 3 lone pairs and 2 boundary atoms. So the steric number is 5, and therefore in this case the hybridization is sp3d, although the structure is linear because the 3 lone pairs occupy equatorial position. Here it is. So we have 3 lone pair that need more space, hence they occupy equatorial position, and the 2 iodine atoms sit on eggshell position. So now let us look at the option. All are linear and have sp hybridization on the central atom? Definitely not. I3 minus has sp3d hybridization. All are linear, but only CO2, N3 minus and I3 minus have sp3 hybridization. Sp hybridization, again incorrect. All are linear, but only CO2, N3 minus and NO2 plus have sp hybridization on the central atom. This seems to be correct. CO2, N3 minus and NO2 plus are linear, but I3 is not. This is definitely incorrect because I3 minus is also linear. So yes, all 4 species have linear structure, and carbon dioxide, N3 minus and NO2 plus, these have sp hybridization on the central atom. So statement C is correct, right? And we know that I3 has sp3d hybridization. So the correct answer to this question is option C. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, 1 mole of an ideal gas at 350 Kelvin is in a 2-liter vessel of thermally conducting walls, which are in contact with the surroundings. So basically, we are talking about an isothermal process because the container is in thermal equilibrium with the surroundings. The gas undergoes isothermal reversible expansion from 2 liter to 3 liter. So initial volume is 2 liter and the final volume is 3 liter. The magnitude of change in entropy of the surroundings is, because the process is reversible, the total entropy change would be 0, which is actually equal to the entropy change of system plus entropy change of surrounding. But they have asked the magnitude of entropy change, and here we see that the entropy change of system is negative of the entropy change of surrounding, but the magnitude of these two entropy change would be same. Now the entropy change of the system in this reversible isothermal expansion would be nR ln V2 by V1. So that's basically number of moles of the gas, which is 1, The value of R is 8.314, and natural log, let us convert it into log to the base 10. So this becomes 2.303 multiplied by log. Final volume is given to be 3 liter and initial volume is given to be 2 liter. Now 8.314 multiplied by 2.303, it occurs very frequently in chemistry, so you should remember its value. It's approximately 19.15. Log 3 by 2 is log 3 minus log 2. Log 3 is approximately 0.48 minus log 2 is approximately 0.3. So this would be approximately 19.15 multiplied by 0.18, which comes out to be approximately 3.4. But we have to tell the answer to the nearest integer in joule per Kelvin. So the answer would be 3 in the nearest integer. So 3.00, that would be the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to tell the number of acyclic structural isomers, including geometrical isomers for pentene. So we basically have to tell how many structural isomers are there and if there is any geometrical isomer possible for those structural isomers. And remember, the isomers have to be acyclic, which means that ring compounds are not allowed. Now, the compound given here is pentene. Pentene is an alkene. It has the molecular formula C5H10. Pentene has 5 carbon atoms. Now we have to put one double bond, which we can put here between C1C2 or here, that is C2C3. First compound will not show geometrical isomerism because it is a terminal alkene and there are 2 hydrogen atoms joined to one of the doubly bonded carbon atom. But this compound will show geometrical isomerism because each vinylic carbon contains a hydrogen. So these 2 hydrogen atoms can either be on the same side, cis isomer, on opposite side, as in here, trans isomer. So these are actually 2 molecules, 2 geometrical isomers. These are all the possibilities if we keep 5 carbon atoms in a straight chain. Now let us try the branched skeletons. Let us take 4 carbon atom in the parent chain, then obviously the 5th carbon will go here. Now the double bond can either be placed here. This compound again will not show geometrical isomerism because it is a terminal alkene. It has a CH2 group. Then we can place double bond here. Again, although it is not a terminal alkene, but this will not show geometrical isomerism because there are 2 methyl groups joined to one of the vinylic carbon atoms. And the last possibility would be this one. This will also not show geometrical isomerism, right? Because it is a terminal alkene. So the total number of compounds is 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 acyclic compounds that are also including geometrical isomers for pentene with the molecular formula C5H10. So 6 is the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. This question is based on Henry's law, where we are given that oxygen dissolved in water exerts a partial pressure of 20 kilopascal. So the pressure of oxygen is given to be 20 kilopascal, that is 10 raised to the power 3. In the vapor above water, the molar solubility of oxygen in water is some number multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 mole per deciliter cube. Given Henry's law constant, Kh for oxygen is 8 into 10 raised to the power 4 kilopascal. So using the Henry's law equation, which says that the partial pressure of a gas is given by Khx, where Kh is Henry's law and x is the mole fraction of gas in the solution. Substituting the given values, the partial pressure of oxygen is 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 4 Pascal is equal to Henry's law is 8 into 10 raised to the power 4 kilopascal, which will become 8 into 10 raised to the power 7 Pascal, multiplied by mole fraction of oxygen. From here, we can calculate the mole fraction of oxygen, which would be 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 4 divided by 8 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 7. So this would be 1 by 4 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3. Because the mole fraction of oxygen in water is very small, so this mole fraction, which by formula is equal to number of moles of oxygen divided by total number of moles, which means that number of moles of oxygen plus number of moles of water. In this formula, we can ignore the number of moles of oxygen in the solution because the mole fraction itself is so small. So the number of moles of the gas will also be very small, which means that the mole fraction of oxygen can be approximated as number of moles of oxygen divided by number of moles of water. Now in 1 liter of solution, the number of moles of oxygen would be mole fraction from this expression, which is 1 by 4 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 multiplied by number of moles of water. Now in 1 liter, number of moles of water is approximately that is 55.55. So that's basically 1000 divided by 18. If we consider the density to be 1, so the answer has to be, if we compare it with the format, right? So this has to be 1000 divided by 18 multiplied by 4. This comes out to be approximately 13.9, and hence 14 is the correct answer, because the answer has to be rounded off to the nearest integer. So the molar solubility of oxygen is approximately 14 into 10 to the minus 3 mole per liter. That is the correct answer. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to calculate the Gibbs energy change in joule for the given reaction when the concentration of copper ion and Sn2 plus ion both are 1 molar at 298 Kelvin. So basically we are talking about standard conditions here. So we do not need to employ the Nernst equation because temperature is 298 and all concentrations are 1 molar. So let us start by writing the expression for EMF, that is E naught cell, standard cell potential, which is equal to E naught cathode minus E naught anode. That is reduction potential of the redox couple at cathode minus the reduction potential of the redox couple at anode. From the balanced chemical equation, we can see that Sn2 plus is getting reduced to tin, which means that tin is at cathode and the potential for tin is given to be minus 0.16 volt. And of course, because copper is getting oxidized from a state of 0 to 2 plus, so copper is the anode here, and its potential is given to be 0.34. So the EMF is minus 0.50 volt. Now we know that the relation between EMF and the Gibbs energy, delta G naught, is given by this formula. Delta G naught is minus NF E naught, where N is the number of electrons in the balanced chemical equation and F is the Faraday constant. The number of electrons in the balanced equation is 2, as we can see here. Copper is losing 2 electrons and Sn2 plus is gaining these 2 electrons. So N is 2, F is 96500 coulomb per mole, and the value of EMF is minus 0.5 volt. So minus minus becomes plus, and delta G naught would be 2 multiplied by 0.5 is actually 1. So this leaves us with 96500 joules, right? So the Gibbs energy change expressed would be 96500. That would be the correct answer for this question. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. In this question, we have a sample of hydrogenium sulfate and 2H6SO4 that is dissolved in 1000 ml of water to prepare a solution X. 20 ml of this solution is reacted with excess of ferric chloride, and the reaction goes like this. Ferric ion undergoes reduction to form ferrous ion, and hydrazine N2H4 gets oxidized to give nitrogen gas. The ferrous ion thus formed, they were estimated using ChemNO4 solution, and it required 10 ml of M by 50 ChemNO4 solution to titrate 20 ml of solution containing ferrous ions. So one thing is for sure is that the gram equivalence of ChemNO4 is equal to the gram equivalence of Fe2 plus, because they are involved in reaction with each other as per the law of chemical equivalence. And the number of gram equivalents of ferrous ion should be equal to the number of gram equivalents of N2H4, or so to say N2H6SO4. So one thing that we have decided from here is that milliequivalents of N2H6SO4 is equal to milliequivalents of KMnO4. Now please remember, this calculation we are going to do for the titration of 20 ml solution out of 1000 ml. For KMnO4, the molarity is 1 by 50. The N factor of KMnO4 is 5 here in acidic medium, because KMnO4 is accepting 5 electrons, multiplied by the volume of solution is 10 ml. So this is 1, which means that there is 1 milliequivalent of N2H6SO4 in 20 ml solution. Now the question asks, what is the amount in gram of N2H6SO4 in 960 ml of solution? Okay, so in 20 ml of the solution, we have 1 milliequivalent. So number of milliequivalents in 960 ml of solution, it would be simply 960 divided by 20 multiplied by 1. All right, so this is the milliequivalent of N2H6SO4 in 960 ml of solution. Now here we can see that in hydrazine, nitrogen is going from an oxidation state of -2 to 0, and there are 2 nitrogen. So the total number of electrons lost by N2H4 is 4. So the N factor of hydrazine here is 4, which means that millimoles of N2H6SO4 here is 960 divided by 20 multiplied by 4, right? Because milliequivalent is millimoles into N factor, so millimoles will be milliequivalent divided by N factor. So we have this 960 divided by 80, and which would be 12. So the amount of N2H6SO4 in 960 ml of solution is 12 millimole. To calculate the mass, we have to take number of moles and multiply it by molar mass. Number of moles is 12 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 mole, and the molar mass of N2H6SO4 you can calculate using the atomic masses given here. It comes out to be 130 gram per mole. So this mass is 12 multiplied by 0.13. So this comes out to be 1.56 gram. So the amount of N2H6SO4 in 960 ml of solution is 1.56 gram. That is the correct answer to this question. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Firoz Khan, Master Teacher of Mathematics here at Vedantu. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the mathematics paper which was conducted very recently. So let's start the discussion without wasting time. And here is the question on the screen. This question is from definite integration, not a very difficult question, on easier side basically. So you have to integrate -1 to 1 x square e raised to integral part of x cube dx. So what you will do in this problem, basically you can see that when x varies from -1 to 1, so x cube also varies from -1 to 1. So in between -1 and 1, there is only one point where x cube will become an integer, and that point is 0. So what I will do, I will break this integral at 0. So -1 to 0, it is x square. And see, in -1 to 0, x cube is lying between -1 and 0. So e raised to integral part of x cube will become -1. So it is e raised to -1 dx. Plus, then in 0 to 1, it is x square. And in 0 to 1, x cube also lies between 0 and 1. When x lies between 0 and 1, x cube also lies between 0 and 1. So integral part of x cube will become 0 here. Now it is very easy. Just integrate. E raised to -1 is 1 by e. Integration of x cube is x cube by 3. Integration of x square is x cube by 3. -1 to 0. And here e raised to 0 is 1. Again, integration of x square is x cube by 3. Here it is 0 to 1. Now just substitute the limit. So you will get it as 1 by 3e plus 1 by 3. Or you can write it as 1 plus e by 3. So which option is correct here? So option D should be correct here, right? Easy question, not a very difficult one. Let's see the next question. Let's see the next question now. Here is the next question. So based on sequence and series, basically based on GP, all these x, y, z are basically GP. So first you have to calculate the values of x, y, and z, and then you have to relate them. What is the relation between x, y, and z? So let's calculate. The first one is basically what? Just a minute. So the first one is x is equal to sigma cos raised to 2n theta n varying from 0 to infinity. So let's calculate x first. So when you put n varying from 0 to infinity here, it is basically a GP with first term 1, common ratio cos square theta, and infinite GP. So use sum of infinite GP formula. So you will get x is equal to 1 over 1 minus cos square theta. In fact, sum of infinite GP is a over 1 minus r. So a is 1 here, r is cos square theta. So this gives you sin square theta is equal to 1 by x. Now let's calculate y. So y is what? Again a GP, infinite GP, with first term again 1, but this time common ratio sin square phi. So y will be 1 over 1 minus sin square phi. And from here, if I simplify, I will get cos square phi is equal to 1 over y. Cos square phi is 1 over y. Now let's calculate z now. Z is what? Z is again a GP, infinite GP, with first term 1, and common ratio is cos square theta sin square phi. So it will be 1 minus cos square theta sin square phi. Now I can write it as 1 over 1 minus cos square theta can be written as 1 minus sin square theta. So it is 1 minus 1 by x. Sin square phi can be written as 1 minus cos square phi. So 1 minus 1 over y. Now if I simplify it, it becomes xy over 1 minus x minus 1 into y minus 1. So this gives you z is equal to xy. In fact, you will get xy here. Here also you will get xy. Now if you simplify, it is z is equal to xy over x plus y minus 1. Now if you simplify it, so you will get what? You will get x plus y into z is equal to xy plus z. So means option C should be the correct option here, right? Let's check the next question. So in this question, this is based on hyperbola, standard hyperbola. They are saying that this line x is equal to 1 is basically the directrix of this hyperbola. So then we have to check out of these 4 given options, given points, which point satisfies this hyperbola. The hyperbola passes through which of these points. So basically, let's rewrite this hyperbola in a standard form first. So I can write it as x square divided by 6 over k. Then y square divided by 6 is equal to 1. I can write the hyperbola like this. Now it is a standard hyperbola, x square over a square minus y square over b square is equal to 1. So I have to calculate its directrix. Directrix will be x is equal to a over e. A square is 6 by k, b square is 6. So let's calculate eccentricity first. And its eccentricity is under root a square plus b square by a. Or you can write its eccentricity as 1 plus b square by a square under root. Now if you calculate it, so this is basically what? 1 plus b square is 6 and a square is 6 by k. B square is 6 and a square is 6 by k. So this is 6 divided by 6 over k. I think I've written something wrong in the first step itself. It is x square divided by 6 over k, not k over 6. Right. So now, in fact, it was right. So now I will write 1 plus b square by a square. So b square is 6. A square is 6 by k. So 6 and 6 cancel. So it is under root 1 plus k eccentricity. Now let's write its directrix. Its directrix is what? X is equal to a over e. X is equal to a over e. And a is what? A is under root 6 by k. And e is what? Under root 1 plus k. So basically it is under root 6 over k into 1 plus k. While the directrix was given as x is equal to 1. Directrix was given as x is equal to 1. So that means it is under root 6 over k into 1 plus k. It should be 1. Now this gives you k into 1 plus k 1. So this gives you k into 1 plus k 6. So k into 1 plus k is equal to 6 here. Of course, k must be positive because we have taken a square as 6 by k. So k will be 2 here. if you solve it. As you have taken a square as 6 by k, so k must be positive here. So k is 2. So that means your hyperbola is what? Your hyperbola is, if you put k is equal to 2, so your hyperbola is 2x square minus y square is equal to 6. And now check out of these 4 given options, which option satisfies the hyperbola. So just check it carefully, which one satisfies one by one. So ultimately, if you put x is equal to minus 2 root 5, so x square will be 20. 20 into 2, 40. 40 minus 36. It is not satisfying. Here I am getting root 5. 5 into 2, 10. 10 minus 9, not satisfying. And I am getting 5 into 2, 10. 10 minus 4. So option C, I think, is satisfying this hyperbola. So you can check one by one. Just check one by one which option satisfies here. So option C satisfies this hyperbola. Let's see the next question now. And this is based on PNC, permutations and combinations. X, Y, Z are positive integer here, natural number. And you have to find the number of positive integral solution of this equation. Means how many ordered pair x comma y comma z, where x, y, z are natural numbers, satisfies this equation. So basically I can write this equation x, y, z as 2 cube into 3. 2 cube into 3. So now see, basically you have to place this 2 cube and 3. So in fact, you can consider x, y, z as 3 persons, and you have to distribute 3 between these 3 persons without any restriction. Means 3 can go to x or y or z. And then you have to distribute this 2 cube between x, y, and z. So see, 3 can be placed in 3 ways. 3 can go to x, 3 can go to y, 3 can go to z. So 3 can be placed, or you can say 3 can be distributed. 3 can be placed in 3 ways. How it is 3 ways? So 3 can go to x, or 3 can go to y, or 3 can go to z. Means I can give 3 to x or y or z, 3 options. Now let's distribute 2 cube. How will you distribute 2 cube? So see, 2 cube can be distributed as 2, 2, 2. 1 each to x, y, z. Means 1, 2 given to x, 1, 2 given to y, 1, 2. So one way here. One way here. Means 2, 2, 2. So 2 given to x, 2 given to y, 2 given to z, only one way. Or I can distribute it as 2 squaring. Means out of these 3 persons, x, y, z, 2 persons will be selected, and one person will get 2 square, other person will get 2. Or I can say that 2 square can be placed, 2 square can be given to either x or y or z. So 2 square can be given in 3 ways. Means it can be given to x or y or z. Let's say 2 square goes to x. So now 2 can be given to either y or z. So 2 can be given in 2 ways. So 6 ways here. 6 ways here. 2 square can go to x or y or z, 3 options. Let's say 2 square goes to x, then 2 will be given either to y or to z. Or one possibility is complete 2 cube is given to one person only. Complete 2 cube is given to one person. 2 cube goes to x, or 2 cube goes to y, or 2 cube goes to 3 ways. So total 10 ways here to distribute 2 cube. So that means the total number of solutions will be what? Total number of solutions will be x. See, 3 can be distributed in 3 ways, and this 2 cube can be distributed in 10 ways. The total number of solution will be 30. There is one more method you can do by using Beggar's coin method. That method is given in the text solution. You can check the PDF. That method is given there. Now let's move to the next question. The image of the point 3, 5 in the line x minus y plus 1 is equal to 0 lies on x. So the question based on a straight line. If I take the image of the point 3, 5 in this line, so then whatever image I am getting, that image will satisfy which of these equation, right? So what I will do, I will first find the image of 3 comma 5 with respect to this line. So let's say this is the line 3 comma 5, and image of x minus image of 3 comma 5, let's say image of 3 comma 5 is alpha beta. So let's find the image using image formula. So you will write what? You will write alpha minus 3 by 1, beta minus 5 over minus 1, and then minus 2 times 3 minus 5 plus 1 divided by a square plus b square 1 plus 1. I'm just using image formula. How to find the image of 3 comma 5 with respect to this line. So let's say image is alpha beta. So alpha minus 3 by 1, beta minus 5 by minus 1, and then minus 2 times, put the point 3 comma 5 here in the line, divide by a square plus b. So it is alpha minus 3, beta minus 5 over minus 1. 2 and 2 cancel here. 3 and 1, 4 minus 5 minus 1. So basically it is plus 2 and 2 cancel. In fact, so this is plus 1. So this gives you alpha is equal to 4. Beta also. Beta minus 1. So 5 minus 1, 4. So image is basically 4 comma 4. Now just check if 4 comma 4 satisfies which of these options. So just check one by one. If I put x is equal to 4, y is equal to 4 in the first option, the first option gets satisfied. Means your first option is the answer here. So your answer will be option A. This 4 comma 4 satisfies the first option, right? Easy question. Easy if you know how to find the image. Next question. A greater than 0, b greater than 0, a plus b pi by 6. Then what will be the minimum value of tan a plus tan b? See, this type of question you can do just by observation also. Of course, this expression tan a plus tan b is symmetric about a and b. Means if I interchange a and b, there is no change in this expression. So that means the minimum will occur when a is equal to b. And a plus b is pi by 6, 30 degree. The minimum will occur when a and b both are 15 degree. So just put a and b both 15 degree, you will get your answer. Tan 15 degree is 2 minus root 3. So 2 minus root 3 plus 2 minus root 3. 4 minus 2 root 3 will be your correct answer. So this is just by observation. Okay, since it is symmetric, so obviously minimum will be when a is equal to b is equal to 15 degree. Now how will you get it by another method? In fact, there is another way of doing by Jansen's inequality. If I draw the graph of tan x in 0 to pi by 2, listen to me very carefully. So the graph of tan x in 0 to pi by 2 will be something like this. This graph is y is equal to tan x. Now if I choose 2 points here, one point I'm taking one point as a comma tan a. Let's say this point is a comma tan a here. Just a minute. So if I'm taking this point as a comma tan a comma tan a. I'm taking another point here, b comma tan b. And if I join this line segment AB, the middle point will be what? Let's say middle point is M. So M is the middle point of AB. So that will be a plus b by 2 and tan a plus tan b by 2. And a plus b is pi by 6. So this is pi by 12 and tan a plus tan b by 2. Right. Now you can see that if I draw a vertical line from M, and let's say this vertical line meets the curve tan x at the point A. This line is vertical, MN line is vertical line. So obviously the x coordinate of M and N both is same because it is vertical line. So I can say x coordinate of N is pi by 12. And y coordinate of N, tan pi by 12. Y coordinate of N is tan pi by 12 as it is lying on the curve. So this point must satisfy the curve. X is pi by 12, y is tan pi by 12. And you can clearly see that the y coordinate of M will be greater than y coordinate of M. M point is above the point N. So y coordinate of M, which is tan A plus tan B over 2, it is greater than y coordinate of N, which is tan pi by 12. And equality will hold when both the point coincide. If I take A and B both same point, both coincide, so N will be also the same point. So equality will hold when both are same point, A and B coincide. So see, you got the same thing here for also. You got tan A plus tan B greater than or equal to 2 times tan pi by 12, which is 2 minus root 3. 4 minus 2. There is one more way using differentiation also you can do. Okay, let's substitute B as pi by 6 minus A. So your function becomes tan A plus tan pi by 6 minus A. Then differentiate with respect to A and find the point of minimum. So through differentiation also you can do it. Now let's see this question. This question is based on PNC, permutations and combination. A good question, not an easy one. So they are saying that A is a set of all 4-digit numbers whose exactly one digit is 7. So first you have to find a 4-digit number whose exactly one digit is 7. Now if a number is randomly chosen from this set, so what is the probability that this number when divided by 5 leaves remainder 2? So basically let's write NS first. NS means total number of 4-digit numbers whose exactly one digit is 7. First I'm writing all the 4-digit numbers. How many 4-digit numbers are there in which exactly one digit is 7? So see, exactly one digit is 7. So let's say 1000 digit is 7. So that means 1000 place is filled in only one way. 1000 place is filled in only one way. It is 7. And remaining places can be filled in 9 ways each. Means the digit at 100 place can be any of the 9 digits except 7. The digit at 10th place will be again any of the 9 digit except 7, and the digit at unit place any of the 9 digit except 7. So if I put 7 at the 1000 place, so I'm getting 9 into 9 into 9 numbers. Now if 7 is not placed at the 1000, 7 is not there at the 1000 place. Let's say 7 is there either at the 100th place or at the 10th place or at the unit place. So 7th can be placed in 3 ways. 3 ways means see 7 can be at 100th place or at 10th place or at unit place. So now 7 is placed in one of these 3 places. Let's say 7 is placed here at unit place. So now this place can be filled in 9 ways, any of the 9 digit except 7. This place can be filled by 9 digits, any of the 9 digit except 7. And this place can be filled in 8 ways. We cannot place 7 here and we cannot place 0 here because 7 has to be placed exactly once. So 8 into 9 into 9. Why you have multiplied 3? Because 7 can be at unit place or it can be at 10th place or it can be at 100th place. So that's why it is multiplied by 3. So this is total number of ways of total number of 4-digit natural numbers whose exactly one digit is 7. Now I can take 9 into 9, 81 common here. 9 into 9, 81 common. So I'm getting 9 plus 24. So it is 81 into 33. Now let's write the favorable cases. In fact, I should write here NA because A is the set containing all the numbers. A is the sample space here. Sample space is A. Now, what is the favorable case? If I pick a number and it is divided by 5, then this number must leave remainder 2. Means the number that you are choosing, this number will have 7 at one of the places. At exactly one of the places, this number will have 7. And since when I'm dividing it by 5, it leaves remainder 2. So that means its unit digit will be either 2 or its unit digit will be either yes 2 or its unit digit will be either 7. Means see, your number will be of this form 5m plus 2. And whenever a number is of this form 5m plus 2, now if you put m is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, the unit digit will be either 2 or 7. The two possibilities are there. Unit digit 2, unit digit 7. So let's write the two possibilities. I'm writing any now. The unit digit must be 2 or unit digit 7. And there is one more restriction. 7 must be used exactly once. 7 must be used exactly once. So let's form the number. The unit digit is 2. Now, at one of these three places, there will be 7. So 7 can be at this place, 7 can be at this place, 7 can be at this place. So let's say 7 is at 1000 place. So not that means this place can be filled in 9 ways except 7. This place can be filled in 9 ways except 7. So 9 into 9, you got 81 numbers. 81 numbers when 7 is placed at 1000 place. Now, how many numbers you will get when 7 is placed at? Let's take one more case. 2 here. And let's say 7 is placed here. So now at this place, we cannot place 7. So at this place, I have 8 options. Why 8 options? We cannot place 0 here. We cannot place 7 here. And this place, I have 9 options. So 72 numbers. And similarly, 72 numbers you will get when you place 7 at the 100th place. 7 can be at 100th place also. So here you got, when unit place is 2, you got 81 numbers plus 72 numbers plus 72 numbers again. 72 numbers when the 100th place is 7. Now let's move when unit digit is 7. When unit digit is 7. So then this place can be filled in 9 ways. This place can be filled in 9 ways except 7. And this place can be filled in 8 ways. So this is the favorable number of ways. So what will be your probability? Probability will be 81 plus 72 plus 72, 144 plus 9 into 8 into 8 is 81 into 8 divided by 81 into 30. And now just simplify it, you will get your answer. So when you simplify this one, in the numerator you have 81 plus 144 plus 81 into 8, and in the denominator you have 81 into 33. Just simplify, you got your answer. So see, in the denominator you have 81 into 33. In the numerator you have, they have taken different approach, 9 into 9 into 8. This one is right. Yeah, the same thing. In fact, 9 into 9 into 8, that is same. And then I have, yes, 9 into 9, so 81 plus 72 two times. So yes, it is correct. So in fact, you will get this 97 by 297 will be your correct answer if you simplify it. So if you simplify it ultimately, so your correct answer will be option A here. 97 by 297, option A will be correct. Let's see the next question. In is pi by 4 to pi by 2 cot raised to nx dx. And then they are asking which option is correct here. So see, I can write in as pi by 4 to pi by 2, pi by 4 to pi by 2. Cot raised to nx can be written as cot raised to n minus 2x into cot square x, and cot square x can be written as cosecant square x minus 1. So now I'm getting pi by 4 to pi by 2 cot raised to n minus 2x into cosecant square x dx, and then pi by 4 to pi by 2 cot raised to n minus 2x. And now you can see that if I substitute cot x as t here, cosecant square x dx becomes minus dt. So it is minus t raised to n minus 2 dt. T is what? Cot x. Cosecant square x dx minus dt. And limit will be going from 1 to 0. And this integration is nothing but in minus 2. If in is cot raised to nx, so in minus 2 will be cot raised to n minus 2. So from here I got in plus in minus 2. Now if I integrate it, I will get t raised to n minus 1 over n minus 1. Substitute the limit. So basically it is 1 over n minus 1 after integration. And now you can check I2 plus I4, I3 plus I5, I4 plus I6. So put n is equal to 4 for, so you will get I4 plus I2 1 by 3. Then put n is equal to 6. So I6 plus I4, it is 1 by 5. Put n is equal to 8. So I8 plus I6, it is 1 by 7. And you can see that 1 by 3, 1 by 5, 1 by 7 reciprocal will be AP. So reciprocal of I2 plus I4, I4 plus I6 and I6 plus I8 form an AP. So hence B option is correct here. If I take the reciprocal of I2 plus I4, I3 plus I5. In fact, they have taken I2 plus I4, I3 plus I5, I4 plus I6. Anyhow, let me check. So in fact, if I put n is equal to I2 plus I4, then they have taken I3 plus I5. So if I put n is equal to 5, so I will get I5 plus I3 is equal to 1 by 4. Then if I put 6, so I6 plus I4 1 by 5. Anyhow, reciprocal is 3, 4, 5, which is an AP. The 1 over I2 plus I4, 1 over I3 plus I5, and 1 over I4 plus I6, that will be an AP. Means option B is the correct option here. Right? Easy question. Fx is given as 5 raised to x over 5 raised to x plus 5, and you have to find this sum f1 by 10, f2 by 10, f3 by 10 up to f39 by 20. Sorry, f1 by 20, f2 by 20, f3 by 20 up to f39 by 20. So I can write this sum in sigma form. I can write it as sigma f of r by 20. R starts from 1 and it is going till 39. And let me call this sum as S. So my sum S is basically sigma R is equal to 1 to 39 f of R by 20. This is S. Now here sum of limit is 40. So I can replace R with 40 minus R. In any summation, you can replace the variable R by sum of limit minus R, just like the King's property of integration. In King's property of integration, what you do, you can replace X with the sum of limit minus x. X is the variable, so you can replace x with the sum of limit minus x. Same in summation you can do. You can replace the variable r by sum of limit minus r, and sum of limit is 40 here. So I can replace this r in summation as 40 minus r. So this is basically what? This is basically sigma r varying from 1 to 39 f of 1 minus r by 20. Now if I add these two, let's say this is 1 and this is 2. Both are actually s. So if I add 1 and 2, I will get 2s is equal to sigma r is equal to 1 to 39 f of r by 20 plus f of 1 minus r by 2. And now you can see that I have to find f of r by 20 plus f of 1 minus r by 20. Means I have to find fx plus f of 1 minus x. So now 1 minus x or 2 minus x? It is 2 minus x, my bad. It should be 2 here. It should be 2 here. 2 minus r by 20 here. So now I have to check f of x plus f of 2 minus x. So let's check. What will be f of x plus f of 2 minus x? How you got the idea of checking f of x plus f of 2 minus x? So you can see here, if you read r by 20 as x, so basically it is f of x plus f of 2 minus x. And f of x is given 5 raised to x over 5 raised to x plus 5. F of 2 minus x will be 5 raised to 2 minus x, 5 raised to 2 minus x plus 5. Now let's simplify. Keep the first one as it is, don't do anything here. 5 raised to x, 5 raised to x plus 5. In the second one, I can write it as 25 by 5 raised to x, 25 by 5 raised to x plus 5. So it is 5 raised to x, 5 raised to x plus 5. And here if you simplify, the 5 raised to x will be cancelled. 1 5 is also cancelled. So you are getting 5 over 5 plus 5 raised to x. And if you add these two, basically it is 1. So f of x plus f of 2 minus x is 1. So you can say that this sigma is sigma r varying from 1 to 39. And this f of x plus f of 1 2 minus x, it is 1. So now it is constant summation. Constant summation means constant multiplied by number of terms. The 2s is 39. So hence s will be 39 by 2. Means option C is the correct option here, 39 by 2. Let's see next question. Based on limit, and you have to check only the right hand side limit here. X is approaching to 0 plus cos inverse x minus integral part of x square, and then sin inverse x minus integral part of x square over x minus x cube. So limit x approaching to 0 plus. Since x is 0 plus, so integral part of x will be 0 here. So basically this will become cos inverse x sin inverse x divided by x into 1 minus x. Actually, integral part of x is 0 when x is approaching to 0 plus. Now you can write it as limit x approaching to 0 plus sin inverse x over x. This is standard formula. This will be 1. Sin inverse x over x is 1. Then cos inverse x, cos inverse 0 will be pi by 2 over 1 minus x square. So now if you put the limit sin inverse x over x, this is 1. Cos inverse 0 is pi by 2. And in denominator, if you put x0, it is 1. So pi by 2 is the correct answer. Pi by 2 means option C again is the correct option. Next question is based on differential equation. dy by dx is equal to xy minus 1 plus x minus y, y0 is 0. So which of the following, which of is true for yx? Basically, you have to check y1. What will be y1 here? Y1 means the value of y at x is equal to 1. So let's solve this differential equation. This differential equation can be solved by using variable separable, means you can separate the two variables, or it can be solved by using linear differential equation also. It's your choice. So I'm solving by linear differential equation because by using variable separable method, that is already given in your PDF. If you check your solution in text form, so you will find the method variable separable used there. But I'm using linear differential equation. So what I will do, I will write dy by dx is equal to y taken common. In fact, take y everything, every y term on the left side. So you will get dy by dx plus 1 minus xy is equal to x minus 1. You can write like this. dy by dx plus 1 minus xy is equal to x minus. And you can see that it is linear differential equation dy by dx p by q. So its integrating factor is what? E raised to 1 minus x dx. Or if you integrate, you are getting it as e raised to x minus x square by 2. This is the integrating factor. Now let's write the solution. The solution, left side y into integrating factor, and on the right side q into integrating factor. So it is y into e raised to x minus x square by 2. On the right side, if you substitute this x minus x square by 2 as t, so 1 minus x dx is dt. So basically it is minus e raised to t dt. T is x minus x square by 2. So you got y e raised to x minus x square by 2 minus e raised to x minus x square by 2 plus c. Now let's find c. So it is given that y0 is 0. So if I put x0, so I will get y is equal to y e raised to 0 1 minus 1 plus c. Y0 actually. If you put x0, y0. If you put x0, y0, so c is 1. So c becomes 1. Now if you put x is equal to 1, if you put x is equal to, because you need y1, means you need the value of y when x is 1. So if you put x is equal to 1, I am getting y e raised to half minus e raised to half, and c is 1, so plus 1. So this gives you y is equal to e raised to, this gives you e raised to minus half minus 1. So this will be your answer. Y will be e raised to minus half minus 1 at x is equal to 1. So y1 is e raised to minus half minus 1, means option D should be the correct option here. Let's see the next question. In the next question, they are saying that if PQR is a triangle, P and Q are given to you, minus 2, 4 and 4, minus 2. And if the equation of the perpendicular bisector of PR is 2x minus y plus 2, 0, then the center of the circumcircle of triangle PQR. Okay, so let's draw triangle PQR first. Triangle PQR. So P point is minus 2, 4, Q point is 4, minus 2, and R point is, so let's say This is P point, minus 2 comma 4. This is Q point, 4 comma minus 2, and this is R point. And we need the circumcenter. What we need? Circumcenter. Circumcenter means the center of the circumcircle of triangle P. And circumcenter is basically the point where the perpendicular bisectors of the side meet. Circumcenter is what? Circumcenter is the point where perpendicular bisectors of the side meet. And see, perpendicular bisector of PR is already given. So if I draw the perpendicular bisector of PR, perpendicular bisector means the line which is perpendicular to PR and bisecting PR. So this line is already given to you, 2x minus y plus 2, 0. And let's draw the perpendicular bisector of PQ. Perpendicular bisector of PQ. So perpendicular bisector of PQ will be something like this. And the point where these two perpendicular bisectors meet, that will be the circumcenter. So basically the point of intersection of these two lines will be the circumcenter. And you can see that minus 2 comma 4 and 4 comma minus 2, these are mirror images of each other with respect to the line y is equal to x. So this line is basically y is equal to x. In fact, you should keep in your mind alpha beta and beta alpha. These two are mirror images of each other with respect to the line y is equal to x. Means y is equal to x is the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining these two. So minus 2 comma 4 and 4 comma minus 2, the perpendicular bisector will be y is equal to x. So not just solve the line y is equal to x and the line 2x minus y plus 2, 0. So what you will do? You will solve the line y is equal to x and the line 2x minus y plus 2, 0. That will be your circumcenter. So if you put y is equal to x here, so 2x minus x plus 2, 0. So x is minus 2, y is minus 2. So hence circumcenter is minus 2 comma minus 2, which is option B. So B option is correct option here. Let's see the next question based on ITF. Very frequent type of question. This type of question is asked very frequently in JEE. So basically it is a telescopic series. Cot inverse alpha is cot inverse 2 plus cot inverse 8 plus cos inverse 18. So I can write this cot inverse alpha as, I can write this cot inverse alpha in sigma form. I can write it as cot inverse. It is 2, then 8, then 18, then 32. So basically it is 2 into r square. R varying from 1 to 100. Cot inverse 2r square. R varying from 1 to 100. You have to find the sum of 100 terms. Now I can write it. You can check for r is equal to 1, it is cot inverse 2. For r is equal to 2, it is cot inverse 8. For r is equal to 3, it is cot inverse 18. Now I can write it as sigma r varying from 1 to 100 tan inverse 1 by 2 r square. Then I can write it as sigma r varying from 1 to 100 tan inverse 2 by 4 r square. Then I can write it as sigma r varying from 1 to 100 tan inverse. Denominator I can write 1 plus 4r square minus 1. And 4r square minus 1 can be factorized as 2r minus 1, 2r plus 1. And in the numerator, I can write 2r plus 1 minus 2r minus. So now it is formula tan inverse x minus y over 1 plus xy. And tan inverse x minus y over 1 plus xy, it can be written as tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. It can be written as tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. Now it is telescopic series. If you put r varying from 1 to 100, all the terms gets cancelled. Only the last one and the first one, means The last one means when you put r is equal to 100, the largest one you will get tan inverse 201. This will remain. And the first one, which is tan inverse, only these two terms will remain. The remaining term will get cancelled. Just put r is equal to 1 to 100 and add. You will see that all the terms get cancelled. Only the last one, which is tan inverse 201, and the first one, which is tan inverse 1. Now use the formula again here, tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. So that will be tan inverse x minus y 1 plus xy. And it can be written as cot inverse. It is tan inverse 200 by 202. So reciprocal will be 202 by 200. Means alpha is basically 101 by 100. Means 1.01. So option C is the correct option. Let's see the next question now. Question number. This question is based on indefinite integration. Not a very difficult question. It seems to be difficult actually. If you look at the question, so in the first sight it seems to be difficult, but actually it is very easy question. You have to keep only one thing in your mind here. E raised to log t is basically t only. So just use this fact here. You will get your answer. So see, I can write this integration as e raised to log 3 goes up. So e raised to log 8x cube. Then 5 times e raised to log 4x square. Then e raised to log x4. Then 5 times e raised to log x cube. Then 7 times e raised to log x square dx. And as I told you, I can write e raised to log t as t only. So numerator is 8x cube plus 5 times 4x square. Denominator is x raised to 4 plus 5x cube plus 7x square. In fact, minus 7x square. Here it is minus. Now x square can be cancelled from numerator and denominator. So you will get 8x here plus 20 here divided by x square plus 5x minus 7 dx. And now you can see that the derivative of denominator is 2x plus 5. So if I take 4 common in the numerator, so numerator is basically the derivative of denominator. Numerator is what? Basically derivative of denominator. So straight away you can write it as 4 times log mod x square plus 5x minus 7 plus c. So option A should be the correct option here. Easy question, very, very easy one. Let's move to the next question. Based on 3-dimension direction cosines, and this type of question they have asked many times in JEE Mains too. Two equations in direction cosines LMN are given here, and they are saying that the two lines represented by these two equations means the two lines whose direction cosines are given by these two equations are parallel. So what will be the possible values of C? So see, when two lines are parallel, their direction cosine should be same. So what I will do here, if I substitute the value of n from the first equation, the value of n from the first equation is L plus A. And if I substitute this n in the second equation, so I am getting 3L square plus M square plus CL, and n is L plus A. This is 0. So I am getting 3 plus CL square. Then I am getting CLM plus M square. And you can see that this equation is basically a quadratic equation in L, or you can write it as a quadratic in M. It's your choice. So this equation is a quadratic in L. And since the two lines are parallel, so this quadratic must give you exactly one root, means the two roots of this quadratic must be equal. The two roots of this quadratic must be equal. In fact, let me write like this. Let's divide the whole equation by m square. That will be better. So if I divide the whole equation by m square, it will be 3 plus c L by m whole square. Then c L by m plus 1 0. Now it is a quadratic in L by m. Quadratic in L by m. And since the two lines represented by these two equations are parallel, so therefore this quadratic must give you two equal roots. Means discriminant should be 0 here. And if I find the discriminant, I am getting c square minus 4 times 3 plus c as 0. So I am getting c square minus 4c minus 12 0. And if I factorize it, it is c minus 6 c plus 2. C minus 6 c plus 2. So you are getting c is equal to 6 or minus 2. In fact, you have to write the positive value of c. So positive value of c is 6 here. So option A should be the correct option. Next question is based on vectors. And actually, if you see the PYQs of last, in fact, if you just see the PYQs of last 5-6 years, you will see this type of question at least 10 times. I am sure that at least 10 times this type of question is asked in JEE Mains. So very high frequency, a very high frequency question, very high weightage question, you can say. This type of question is asked very, very frequently in JEE Mains. So let's see what is given here. You are given two vectors A and B. Then R cross A is equal to R cross B. R dot I plus 2j plus k is minus 3. Then you have to get R dot 2i minus 3j plus k. So basically, I need the vector R first. So see the given equation, this equation R cross A is equal to R cross B. I can write it as R cross A minus B0. And whenever the cross product of two vectors is 0, you can claim that these two vectors are parallel vectors. So you can say that R is parallel to A minus B, and hence R can be written as lambda times A minus B. Whenever two vectors A and B are parallel, you can write A is equal to lambda times B. So since R and A minus B are parallel, so you can write R is equal to lambda times A minus B. Now A and B are known, so R can be written as lambda times A minus B. Now let's subtract A minus B. So you will get minus 5i, 2 minus 7, then minus 4j, minus 3 minus 1, and then plus 10k. This is R vector. Now it is given that R dot I plus 2j plus k is minus 3. What is given? R dot I plus 2j plus k is minus 3. So if I take the dot product of this R vector with I plus 2j plus k vector, so I will get lambda times minus 5 minus 8 plus 10 is equal to minus 3. So this gives you lambda is equal to 1. That means R vector is basically minus 5i minus 4j plus 10. Now take the dot product of R with 2i minus 3j plus k. So I need what? I need R dot 2i minus 3j plus k. So take the dot product here. Minus 5 into 2 minus 10. Minus 4 into minus 3 plus 12 plus 10. So 12 should be your correct answer. Means option A is the correct option. Next question is based on binomial. Easy question, coefficient based problem. And coefficient based problem is also very high frequency question in JEE Mains. So basically you have to find two coefficients here, coefficients of x raised to 10 and coefficients of x raised to 7 in this expansion, and then the absolute difference of these two coefficients. So let's write the general term first, tr plus 1 in this expansion. TR plus 1 is what? 11 CR. 2x square raised to 11 minus R. 1 by 2x raised to. See, in every question of this frequency, this coefficient type problem, what you do, you find the general term of the binomial first. And the general term is here 11 CR, 2x square raised to 11 minus R, and 1 by 2x raised to R. If I rearrange it, so I can write it as 11 CR, 2 raised to 11 minus R, and 2 raised to R, so 11 minus 2R. And then x raised to 22 minus R and R, so 22 minus 3R. So this is the general term. Now for x raised to 10, for the coefficient of x raised to 10, so for x raised to 10, this 22 minus 3R should be 10. So R will be 4. So what is coefficient of x raised to 10? Coefficient of x raised to 10 is, just put R is equal to 4 here. So 11C4 and 11 minus 8, so 2 raised to 3. And for x raised to 7, this 22 minus 3R should be 7. So R is 5. So coefficient of x raised to 7, put R is equal to 5, 11C5, 2 raised to, and now just take the difference of these two. The difference of coefficient of x raised to 10 and coefficient of x raised to 7. Absolute difference they are asking. So what is the difference? Absolute difference. 11C4 will be what? 11 factorial, 4 factorial, 7 factorial, then 2 cube is 8. And 11C5 is what? 11 factorial, 5 factorial, 6 factorial into 2. So up to 7 cancel. 8, 9, 10, 11, and one more 8 here. And 4 factorial is 24. Up to 6 cancel here. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And one more 2 also. Divided by 5 factorial, 120. Now just cancel. So 24 into 3, 72. And here you will get this 0 cancel. Then you are getting what? You are getting 12 into 6, 72. So you are getting 30 into 11 into 8. And here you are getting 42 into 11 into 2. And just simplify it and see which option is correct option here. If I just check the unit digit, so here the unit digit will be what? 8. In fact, here I'm getting unit digit 0. And here I'm getting unit digit 4. So 10 minus 4, 6 means in my answer, unit digit should be 6 only. In this one, I'm getting unit digit 0. In this one, I'm getting unit digit 4. So 10 minus 4, 6 means in your answer, unit digit should be 6. And here unit digit is 0. Here 8 minus 2, 6. Here 27 minus 3, 7, 4. So means B should be your correct answer. So B should be the correct answer here. Next question, based on relation, easy question. This is very, very easy question. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You are forming a relation R. And this relation contains those pair which satisfy x plus y is equal to 7. So obviously it will contain 1 comma 6. Then of course 6 comma 1, 2. Then 2 comma 5. 5 comma 2. Then 3 comma 4. 4 comma 3. And it is obvious that this is a symmetric relation, neither reflexive nor transitive. So this relation is symmetric but neither reflexive nor transitive, means option D is the correct option. see this question. The mean and variance of 12 observations are given as 9 by 2 and 4. Later on, it was observed that the two observations were considered as 9 and 10 instead of 7 and 14. So correct variance is m by n. You have to correct the variance. So basically two type of data here. First, see the original mean and variance, means the wrong mean and variance. So originally mean is what? 9 by 2. So mean will be, I'm writing original data first. So mean is what? Sigma x over n. N is 12, number of observation is 12. And this mean is given as 9 by 2. This mean is given as 9 by 2. So sigma x will be what? 54. Sigma x is 54. Right, now let's write variance. Variance will be what? Sigma x square by n, n is 12, minus a square of the mean, 9 by 2 square. And this variance is given to you as 4. Now if I simplify, so I'm getting sigma x square by 12 is 4 plus 81 by 4. I'm getting sigma x square. Here it is what? It is 16 and 81, 97 by 4. So sigma x square is what? 97 by 4 into 12. So 97 into 3. So sigma x square, it is what? 291. This is incorrect data. So now I will correct it. So let's correct it. So what is correct sigma x? Now I'm writing correct data. Correct sigma x. So incorrect is 54. And what is wrong here? We have taken 9 and 10 wrongly. So this 9 and 10 will be subtracted and 7 and 14 will be added. 9 and 10 are incorrect, 7 and 14 are correct. So basically it is what? 54 minus 19 plus 21. So it is 56. Now what is correct sigma x square? Correct sigma x square. So incorrect is 291. And what is wrong here? So 9 square is wrong here. 10 square is wrong here. Correct one are 7 square and 14 square. Now let's calculate it. So let's not waste the time. If you calculate this one, 291, let me check. If you calculate this 291 minus 9 square, let me show you. So if you calculate this correct sigma x square here, so it is correct on 291 minus 9 square minus 10 square plus 7 square plus 14 square. So basically it becomes 355. So what will be correct variance? Correct variance is correct sigma x square, which is 355 by 12 minus correct mean square. And what is correct mean? So correct mean will be, see, you have got correct mean will be what? Correct mean will be, let me show you here. Let me show you here. It is what? It is 355. So what will be correct variance? Correct variance is 355 by 12 minus square of the correct mean, 56 by 12 whole square. Basically it is 56. Now just calculate it. So it is 355 by 12. And here you can cancel 4. So 14 by 3. So 256 by 9. And just simplify it. You will get the correct variance, which is m by n, and finally get m plus n. So when you simplify it, ultimately it becomes 281 by 36. So m is 281, n is 36, and not just get m plus n, which is 281 plus 36. So m plus n will be 281 plus 36. So it is 7, 1. So your correct answer will be 317 here. Right? Easy question, but since it is statistics, so you have to do calculation. No other option. Again, a question based on vectors or 3-dimension, but easier one. This is very, very easy question. We have a vector A, which makes an angle pi by 3 with I cap, pi by 4 with j cap, and we don't know what is the angle with k cap. Let's say this angle is theta. So you have to find the possible values theta. So basically, if I write the direction cosines of this vector, so L is what? Direction cosines. L is cos pi by 3, which is half. M is cos pi by 4, which is 1 by root 2. And n is cos theta. Theta you have to find. And you know that L square plus M square plus N square is always 1. So it is 1 by 4 plus 1 by 2 plus N square. So this gives you N square 1 by 4. Means N plus minus half. So cos theta is plus minus half. So hence theta can be 60 degree pi by 3, or it can be 120 degree 2 pi by 3. But as you can see, pi by 3 is not there in the option. So means 2 pi by 3 is the correct answer. And that's why they have written a possible value of theta. If more than one choices are correct, so both will be given. If the remainder when x is divided by 4 is 3. So that means when I'm dividing x by 4, remainder is 3. So I can say that x is a number of this form, 4m plus 3 form. When I'm dividing x by 4, remainder is 3. So I can say that x will be a number of this form, 4m plus 3 form. Means x will be either 3 or 7 or 11. So x can be a number 3, or it can be 7, or it can be 11, or it can be 15, any number of this form. So just for sake of convenience, suppose x is 3 only. You can take any one, you will get the same answer. So I'm just putting x is equal to 3 here. So 2020 plus x, I'm taking x as 3, 2022. Now they are asking if I divide it by 8, what will be the remainder? So since I'm dividing it by 8, so in the base, I will try to bring a multiple of 8. And then I will erase the multiple of 8. So it is what? 2020. 2020 is already a multiple of 8, I think. 8 into 216. 8 into 216. 8 into 5, 4. No, 2020 is not a multiple of 8. It is a multiple of 4. 4 into what? 51. It's not 4. Yes, what's 4? Yes, it is 4 into 505. Anyhow, so this 2020 is a multiple of 4. I can write it as 4m. So your number is 4m plus 3 whole square. I've written 2020 as 4m. Of course, 2020 is a multiple of 4. Now, I can write it as 4m plus 3 whole square and then whole raised to 1011. So now it becomes 16m square. 2ab will give you 24m plus 9 whole raised to 1011. Now, obviously, this 16m square is divisible by 8, so it can be erased. 24m is divisible by 8, so it can be erased. So now I'm left with 9 raised to 1011. 9 can be written as 8 plus 1 raised to 1011. So this 8 can also be raised. So remainder is basically, so your remainder will be based on applications of derivative. These two curves are cut at right angle. If they are orthogonal curve, so what will be 4k raised to 6. See, whenever the two curves cut at right angle, the product of their derivative at the point of intersection should be -1. Orthogonal curve means they will intersect at right angle. The product of their slope should be -1 at the point of intersection. So see, first get the point of intersection. So at the point of intersection, if I equate these two, so if I put the value of x is equal to y raised to 4 in the second one, so y raised to 5 will be k. So at the point of intersection, y raised to 5 is k. Just put x is equal to y raised to 4 from the first one to the second. Now let's differentiate the two curves to get their derivative. So if I differentiate the first one, y1 is equal to 4y cube dy by dx. And differentiate the second one, I can write x is equal to k by y. So if I differentiate it, I will get 1 is equal to minus k by y square dy by dx. What I'm trying to do here, since y raised to 5 is k, so I'm trying to get dy by dx in terms of y only. I'm just erasing x. I'm just eliminating x. So I'm trying to get dy by dx from both the equations in terms of y only. So from the first equation, dy by dx is 1 by 4y cube. And from the second equation, dy by dx is minus y square by k. And since these two curves are orthogonal, the product of the derivative, it is y cube here. Product of derivative 1 by 4y cube minus y square by k. This product should be -1. So this gives you 1 over 4ky is equal to 1. So this gives you y is equal to 1 by 4k. Now put the value of y is equal to 1 by 4k here in this equation. As y raised to 5 is k, so if I put here 1 by 4k raised to 5, it should be k. So I'm getting what? If I multiply both sides by 4 here, so this is 4, this is 4. So I'm getting 4k raised to 6 is equal to 4. So 4 should be the correct answer. 4k raised to 6 becomes 4. Let's see the next question based on differentiability. They are asking at how many points this function is not differentiable. So you know that your function of this form, mod of x plus k form, is not differentiable minus k. Or if you are writing mod of x minus k, so then it is not differentiable at k. The function of this form, mod of x plus k or mod of x minus k, it is not differentiable at k or minus k. The first one is not differentiable at minus k. The second one is not differentiable at k. So let's try to write this function in this form. So I can write fx as mod 2x plus 1. Obviously, it is not differentiable at minus half. This mod 2x plus 1. 3x plus 2, obviously, it is not differentiable at minus 2. And this one I can factorize. I can factorize it as x plus 2, x minus 1. So it is mod x plus 2, mod x minus 1. Now you can see that at x is equal, and one more thing you should keep in your mind, whenever you have sum or difference of two functions, let's say you have two functions fx and gx. If both are differentiable, so then sum and difference will be differentiable. Sum and difference will be differentiable. If one of them is differentiable, and other one is non-differentiable. If one of them is differentiable, other one is non-differentiable, then sum and difference will be non-differentiable. Sum and difference will be non-differentiable. And if both are non-differentiable at a point, then sum and difference may or may not be differentiable. In this case, you have to check. This is doubtful case. It may be differentiable, may not be differentiable. I'm repeating. If both are differentiable, then sum and difference will be differentiable. If one of them is differentiable, other one is not differentiable, then sum and difference is not differentiable. And if both are non-differentiable, then sum and difference can be or cannot be differentiable. So here you can see that at x is equal to minus half, at x is equal to minus half, only the first one is not differentiable. Remaining two are differentiable. So that means at x is equal to minus half, this function is not differentiable. Similarly, at x is equal to 1, only the last one is not differentiable. Remaining two are differentiable. So I can straight away say that this function fx is not differentiable at x is equal to minus half and 1. These are the 2 points where the function is not differentiable, minus half and 1. Now what about minus 2? So at minus 2, two functions are not differentiable here, the middle one and the last one. So at minus 2, I'm not sure whether it is differentiable or not. So basically what I will do, I will check its differentiability at minus 2, whether it is differentiable or not. So what I will do, I will take just x less than minus 2 and x greater than minus 2, slightly less than minus 2 or slightly greater than minus 2. So if I take, I'm writing the function for x less than minus 2 and for x greater than minus 2. And I'm not going very far away from minus 2. I'm not going very far away from minus 2, just left of minus 2 and just right of minus 2. So when x is in fact, when x is less than minus 2, this 2x plus 1 is negative. So I will write minus 2x plus 1 here. This x plus 2 is also negative. So I will write 3 times x plus 2 here. This x plus 2 is negative. So minus x plus 2. This x minus 1 is also negative. So this will become plus x minus 1. And for x greater than minus 2, again, this is negative. In fact, you are not going very far away from minus 2. In the neighborhood of minus 2, it is negative. It is positive 3 times x. So it is positive. So this will become minus 3 times x plus 2. And here you will get minus x plus 2. But this one is still negative. This one, x plus 2 is positive, but this one is still negative. So x minus 1. This is what you are getting. Now, if you simplify it, it is minus 2x minus 2 plus 3x plus 6 plus x square plus x minus 2. This is when x less than minus 2. Here minus 2x minus 2 minus 3x minus 3x. In fact, just take x plus 2 common here. That will be better. That will be better. Just take x plus 2 common here. So minus 2x minus 2, x plus 2 taken common. So x minus 1 plus 3, this becomes x plus 2 whole square. And here also, minus x plus 2 taken common. Minus x plus 2 taken common. So this will become x minus 1 plus 3. So minus x plus 2 whole square. And now if you differentiate it, f dash x, so it is minus 2 plus 2 times x plus 2 when x is less than minus 2. And here minus 2 times x plus 2 when x is greater than minus 2. So you can see that either you take left hand derivative at minus 2. Left hand derivative at minus 2 is minus 2. And right hand derivative at minus 2 is also minus 2. So basically this function is differentiable at minus 2. So ultimately you got only 2 points where this function is not differentiable, and these 2 points are minus half and 1. So minus half and 1 are the 2 points where this function will be not differentiable. So option answer is 2 here. A question based on matrix. A matrix A is given, x, y, z are real numbers, x plus y plus z positive, x, y, z minus 2 by 27, a square is I3. I3 means identity matrix of order 3. So what will be 9 times x cube plus y cube plus z cube. So when you find a square and equate it with I3, so you will get x square plus y square plus z square 1. And you will get xy plus yz plus zx 0. Just find a square and equate it with I3, you will get these two. Now let's find x plus y plus z. So you know that kx plus y plus z whole square can be written as x square plus y square plus z square plus 2 times xy plus yz plus zx. So basically it is 1. So this gives you x plus y plus z 1. Why you are not taking minus 1? Because it is given that x plus y plus z is positive. Now I can find x cube plus y cube plus z cube. There is a standard formula, and in case you don't know this formula, for the future keep it in your mind. X cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz. It can be written as x plus y plus z, then x square plus y square plus z square, then minus xy plus yz plus zx. It is very standard formula. Keep it at your fingertip. Now x plus y plus z is 1. X square plus y square plus z square is also 1. Xy plus yz plus zx is 0. So you got it 1 here when you substitute all the values. So this gives you x cube plus y cube plus z cube is equal to 1 plus 3xyz. And xyz is given minus 2 by 27. 1 plus 3xyz, xyz is minus 2 by 27. So it is 1 minus 2 by 9. So this gives you 9 times x cube plus y cube plus z cube is equal to 7. The correct answer should be 7 here. So let's take the next question again based on vector, and again very high frequency question. This type of question is asked very frequently in JMS. So what they are given here, they have given here A, B, C, 3 vector. R cross A is C cross A. R dot B is 0. Then what will be R dot A? So what you will do, this R cross A is equal to C cross A. You can write it as R minus C cross A 0. R minus C cross A. And whenever the cross product of two vectors is 0, these two vectors are parallel vector. So you can write R minus C as lambda times A because they are parallel. Or R can be written as lambda A plus C. Now let's write R. Lambda times A plus C. So basically it is lambda plus 1 I. 2 lambda minus 1 J. Then minus lambda minus 1 times K. This is R vector. Now R dot B is 0. R dot B is 0. So let's take the dot product with B. B vector is I minus J. So 1 into lambda plus 1 minus into 2 lambda minus 1 plus 0. This should be 0. So this gives you minus lambda plus 2 0. So lambda must be 2. So you got your vector R as 3i plus 3j minus 3k. Now let's take R dot A. A vector is this. So 1 into 3, 2 into 3, 6, minus 1 into minus 3 plus 3. So it is 12. So 12 should be the correct option. Right? So not very difficult, but this question is very high frequency question in JEE Mains. This type of question, I should say. Chalo, see you guys. God bless you all. Bye bye. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.